We are live with IP 271. Um, Hi Trevor.
Hi.
Welcome to bonus content.
Yay.
I guess we're live at this point.
Yep.
I'm Alex as usual. Scott and Nabishin are here. Tony will be here at some point. We hope. So
Hopefully.
let's. Trevor's here. Let's do this. Let's go right into it, Nabishin. Let's break the seal.
Are you serious?
Yeah, let's do this.
Can I talk openly?
Do you want to talk? Well, I mean,
That's why I wanted to do it early.
I know, but like, the only, like, I don't care if we talk openly. I can just flag the bonus content as spoilers. But
Do you care, Scott?
yeah, Scott, do you care?
What are we talking about?
Batman versus Superman, the film, the movie, the cinematic experience.
Is that out?
All three generous terms.
Is that out?
Yeah, that came out on yesterday.
Oh, okay. No. No, that's not one of those kind of movies that you go to for spoilers or any kind of thing like that. That is people beating the fuck out of each other, so you watch the show.
That does happen in that movie.
It does, not as much as most people want to.
Okay. Well, I mean, we're live, so people might be jumping in and out of this. Let's talk generally, and then.
Yeah, that's too weird just to be like talking openly right now because someone could just come in here and be like, "Oh my god, we just spoiled it," and
Yeah,
you really
yeah.
have like a.
Let's talk generally, and then maybe at the end
Well,
of the
it's
show.
their fault for being on the internet.
Maybe at the end of the show, we can like just take a few minutes to just fucking get it out there.
Sure, this is probably a short show this week anyway. So.
Yeah. So what'd you think? No.
So it's interesting how I went through this. So like I said, I spoiled the movie for myself, basically just listening to like the review discussion of it. So I knew everything that was thrown at me beforehand. I was like, oh okay.
Yeah.
So I know what was happening. I know how it ends, and I'm like, okay, sure.
The timing, I'm sure, was like there were moments where you're like, well, this is weird that this is happening now because the pacing of this movie is a fucking train wreck.
Yeah, and like it's just like certain things where like it's like just seeing it with your eyes is just like, is this a thing? It's like, man, it's like, it's like certain things. It's just certain things. Like, there's one thing I really want to talk about, and like, if anything this movie brought out of me is that I really like Superman.
Yeah, me too.
And this movie kind of just destroyed him in a way.
Yeah.
That really upsets me. Cause like I thought I was going here with like with no emotional attachment, whatever. I'm like, okay, I'm free from the sin of actually caring about this movie whatsoever. And it just like brought out this so much more, just like visceral emotion at the end, just how it all played out.
For context, my only. Like, I saw all your passive-aggressive Facebook posts of, like, well, this would have been a great movie. But I thought that those were all before you had seen it, and the only thing I had seen or heard from you after you had seen it was your Snapchat where you're like, just saw Batman versus Superman, not a fan. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's valid. Is it the scene in court that you're talking about?
Oh, that's another can of worms.
That's another can of worms, right?
I have thoughts on that too.
But it's the fact that like a character gets ruined for like we'll oh man, that's why I said I need to talk openly because like it's a really big thing.
Yeah, well, were you like also not a fan of Lex Luthor? Because I really didn't like him in this movie.
Who did?
A lot of people. I don't know what people are talking about. Like people can tweet like Lex was my favorite part of the movie. I'm like, that's not Lex Luthor at all.
You need to stop following those people, Alex.
I know. Well, Greg Miller's one of those people, and it's kind of like a guilt thing at this point. No. I like he was very much like his plan, and I won't ruin that for people who haven't seen it, but like his plan
Air
was,
quotes.
his plan, yeah,
Yes.
air quotes. His plan was a very Lex Luthor plan, I thought, but I'm like
Maybe at the beginning.
yeah, maybe at the beginning, but like it doesn't even contextually fit with like his character. Like that's how starkly contrasted they were.
But the thing we have to speak objectively about this is like these are new characters. These are new. This is a whole new universe. So like we can't just be like projecting something from what we know for them into this movie per se.
Mm-hmm.
even if they have the same name. But it would be nice if you got some context to why they're doing certain things.
Yeah.
Like why something that is like so well established for one character to be like doing the complete opposite thing for that character to do, but like not giving really any like context of why he's doing it now.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, like, well,
it could be a mention or like even like an actual like scene, just like him like going over that edge, and it's like, okay, so you made that choice, so now it's fine. I understand that now.
You've crossed that line, let's say, but we're just not going to address it throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, for as much as exposition like as is littered throughout the rest of the movie, it was very weird the places where they didn't bother getting into, like, this is why I'm doing this thing. And yeah.
Like we're gonna spend the whole first 5 minutes of the movie killing your parents again, but we're not gonna explain this one kind of super important aspect of your character.
Yes.
No, I mean, like, my thing with Lex is like, yeah, it's a new character, a new version of that character, but like kind of Cameron Abbott said on the show a few weeks ago when he was on, like, speaking about Devil May Cry, it's like there is source material there that they're pulling from, but it doesn't feel like they're using any of, like, they're not using that name. He's essentially just a completely different character. Just like he could have been like John, and I'd been like, okay, yeah, it's John. He's a crazy villain guy, but he didn't have to be Lex Luthor. Like, he was Lex Luthor in name only.
A friend of mine basically made the same argument for Khan in the Star Trek reboot. Star Trek, which one was that? Into Darkness.
Yeah.
Like, the only reason to use the name Khan for that character was for the legacy, but he was nothing like Khan in that movie.
Yeah. I mean, like, I was okay with that because I'm not as attached to the source material, so I guess that's
I was the same way. It was the kind of thing. It was intended specifically for the like reaction that my dad made when I saw the movie with him, where he got a kick out of it as a lifelong Trek fan. But
yeah,
this was very much the same kind of thing. There were a lot, like, these characters were like in name only, including like I imagine it's spoilery, so I won't like name the name, but like the photographer in like that opening sequence.
Yeah, that was super
in
weird.
Name only.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't know. There's like a lot of that just kind of weird stuff.
Yeah. The thing I left thinking was, and I tweeted out basically to the same effect, was that if Man of Steel was Iron Man, the first Iron Man movie, this was Incredible Hulk, Thor, Captain America, and Iron Man 2, all trying to like be rolled up into one thing.
Like, it's weird. Like, they take so many like really big leaps of logic. Like, oh, you just know who that is now. Okay, and we're not going to address that. Like, you just know that. All right. I'm like, I'm kind of okay with that, but like then we're gonna spend like these excruciatingly long scenes. Like, I was dying. Like, the one scene that involves like grandma's fucking peach tea.
Yes.
I wanted to stand up in the theater and go, "What the fuck is happening? What are you doing?"
See, my approach is basically the same thing. The movie oscillates so like wildly from like respecting the audience to know the shit that they're throwing at the screen, and then like thinking that they're having to explain it to a toddler.
Yeah.
So like like all of so many little moments in there that are like, okay, you have to be a diehard fan to know what the hell that was.
Yeah, exactly. Like, without any context, and I'm like, this is crazy.
I'm like, I figured this out a minute ago. Can we just this is why this is 2.5 hours long?
This scene right here with this fucking peach tea, what is happening?
Yeah.
Is this the climax? And it wasn't like, I don't even think that was the climax of the movie. Because that story just dropped. I mean, like, here's the thing, and like what I said, it is like got so many issues, like I can't even count it on my fingertips and my toes probably. But like there are moments of it that really, like, as a fan of Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, I was a big fan of, just to see them happen, even if they were poorly set up or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like when Wonder Woman shows up, like that moment, is really cool. And
as an image, yes. As a payoff to anything else in this movie, no.
Yeah, I mean, like, I didn't mind the music there either. Like,
oh yeah.
the Lex Luthor's weird fucking death piano thing was the most distracting thing in the world, though.
Did you like the soundtrack? Like I'm indifferent with it. Like some people are fucking like hating on it like super hard.
There are some really good pieces there, but like I thought Lex Luthor's piece, it fit with his character, but much like his character, it didn't fit at all with the movie. And I thought like Wonder Woman's like guitar sound was really cool, and it fit with how badass she is and how badass she came across in the film. And like the Batman sound, like I thought was good, and the Superman theme from Man of Steel I thought was good too. So, I know I'm bringing up old wounds, but like yeah, like there's another moment with another DC character like which had zero context, but I was like, as one of the maybe 3 people in the movie theater that understood what was happening, because I could tell it was a very rowdy movie theater. And it got very quiet after that scene. I'm sure it was like people going like, "What the fuck just happened?" And I'm sitting there like about to lose my mind. I'm like, that was like maybe the coolest thing. Ends up that was the coolest thing of this whole movie. But like me and Ethan, who is fucking jaw on the floor next to me, are the only 2 people here that are appreciating it.
Right.
Well, now I'm curious which moment you're talking about. I can
I'll put it in a side chat.
Identify potential 2 that like you might be referring to. Okay. Yeah, it was either that or the later cameo, the last of the little footage cameos that I was thinking of. Origin story told in 15 seconds.
Yeah, I hated that so much.
Okay.
Oh man.
Because that's another one that's very divisive. Like people are like, oh my god, that was amazing, and I'm like, now
Aquaman alone, man, that kills it.
That one, that was atrocious.
Just like the longest shot scene of just like we're just looking at this. What is happening? Why are we still here? And he's gone. He's
at
gone.
That moment,
I guess.
To be fair, I did step out of the shower today and was like, I gave that look to my mirror. I was like,
you disappeared
I'm
back
calling
into it.
Momoa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You've got the long flowing hair for it.
I know.
It's again, many scenes that didn't make sense. That was like about as trite and contrived as like internal monologue as far as getting story across.
Yeah.
That's saying something. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I had fun with it. Like I wasn't expecting much, so like it pretty much met my expectations. There's stuff that's gonna bother me forever for the rest of my life.
Oh man.
Yeah, it was. I just kind of left it like, well, I've seen it. I probably don't need to ever see it again.
Yeah, I mean, like
I'm interested in that 30 minutes, but like I can't again.
Like I want to watch the longer cut to see if it does anything, but we'll see.
I don't. I'm fine if I never have to see another Zack Snyder DC moment.
Yeah, like this is like just a Zack Snyder movie. That was like the biggest crime against it.
It's so weird, dude. Like you just got finished making a Superman movie, and like you're pretty much just shitting on him this entire movie.
Yeah.
Like I guess you really wanted to make a Batman movie more than
totally.
Superman?
He totally wanted to make a Batman movie.
And I got that from like the last trailer that had come out. I was like, is this a Batman movie now?
Yeah.
And then I watch it, I'm like,
yeah,
oh, it kind of is. It wants to be. It wants to be a Batman movie, but it also wants to be a Superman sequel, and it also wants to be a Justice League setup movie, and it just doesn't do any of them well.
I could write like a 4-page essay about my love-hate relationship with Batman in this movie too. Like, oh my god, like so many good things about Ben Affleck's
Can we get props
Batman.
can we give props to that? Because that was
Ben Affleck was like he's like hands down the best Bruce Wayne. Like in my opinion, like except for the part where he's like kind of stupid.
I would argue he's like probably like the best Batman as far as like being like some of the Batman like Michael Keaton you can see like them like playing Bruce Wayne really good and like being Batman in other cases. This one, like I heard this from somewhere else, but like this one seems like Ben Affleck feels like he's like Batman the entire time, even when he is Bruce Wayne. Like there's only like certain moments he's actually Bruce Wayne. Yeah, like he's 100% Batman, like 24/7. Like, and that was just an interesting take for that Batman that I really enjoyed.
Yes, I agree. I totally agree with that sentiment.
Yeah, I did appreciate that. this movie and like specifically the Batman stuff made leaps and bounds to show that like this is a universe that has been lived in.
Yeah.
Like I did love the imagery of like Wayne Manor being kind of like shit went down there at some point, it looks like, and
yeah, like a long time ago.
and that's that is not a place anymore.
Mhm.
And that he's been doing it for as long as he had.
Yeah, 20 years is like it's good to establish that.
Yeah.
That kind of Superman came into this late in the game as opposed to early in the game.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like there are so many good parts about that. Like like I said, except for the part where he's kind of like stupid in very weird ways. It's like you're not very careful with this, are you? Like you're you just don't care if people know at this point.
Yeah.
But I really liked the way he moved, the way he looked in the suit, like stuff like the little stuff like that. It was just like the overarching kind of decisions that he made as Batman. It's like, well, out the window, I guess.
Yeah, it was one of those. I mean, do you remember there was like stories that leaked? I don't know, like middle of last year maybe, that suggested they were going to try and break this movie up into two separate films.
Yeah.
And it definitely like with as many stories as they were trying to tell, I kind of wish they had, but it's a mixed bag because I wouldn't want like another hour of stuff filler in there to try and tell those two stories.
I would have rather they removed some of the stuff that's already there and put in kind of more context for everything else that happens.
Yeah.
Like you could, I feel like you could easily make this into a good movie, if you like really did some cutting down on some bullshit.
Oh
Maybe,
yeah.
Like hey, here's like a little bit more about the villain of the movie that we still know nothing about.
Yeah.
And like hey, here's kind of like a hint at to where we're going with this for the people who don't immediately get it, right? Because there are plenty of those people out there. Yeah, it's like it's a bummer movie, just in a lot of ways.
It really is. It is a thing that's like when I look at it, and every time I think about it, I just get more and more upset about it because like we deserve better. We deserve so much better, and like.
And we'll get it in 2 months with Civil War.
I mean, and that's the thing. It's like I'm not saying like I'm a super DC fanboy because I'm not really like I only like one part of the DC universe and that was just the Bruce Timm verse or whatever the fuck. But like that's my childhood and that's my heart. Like there's something very special about that. And when I try to reflect on that, like I feel like something from 20 years ago should be reflected in something like right now in at least some shape or form because Marvel's getting it but we're not getting it as far as DC and it's super upsetting. It bums me out. Like
yeah,
super.
Like over this week I realized like how much I fucking really love Batman, and now I'm just kind of heartbroken.
And that was with me with Superman. Like you know like because like Superman is just like for like maybe like the past like I don't know like 10 years now, like millennials right now are just like they're really hating on Superman right now, and like going back to like something like the animated series, like he was a developed character, he had like weaknesses, he goes off the edge, but like he's like the symbol of like something good and like something like you strive for, something you hope to be. That is Superman. He's a symbol of like what you want to be as a person, kind of like a god, but like you know like a god on Earth, and like they just couldn't get it. They just didn't get it.
And like a big part of that was like he didn't even seem like that much. He didn't even seem like that much of a hero, right? Like he.
But and then they had the moment. And they had the moment to do it, and they literally blew it up in front of our faces. I can't believe that.
I was thinking about this today. They show him being a hero a lot, but everything in the movie tells you he's a villain.
Yeah, exactly. Like
they have all those iconic images of him coming down at the Day of the Dead thing and saving the spaceship or whatever. But like everybody who's talking about him is painting him as a villain. So it's another very disjointed aspect of the movie.
And he's just super bummed out about it. Like he's just
mopey.
trying to help people, and like I understand like where they were going with it, but like you're right, Nabishin. Like he's just some guy trying to do the right thing, and they like get so far away from that it's like just endlessly frustrating.
It was literally after that moment they just completely just forgot that whole story arc.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever.
It was like when he goes off on his like Vision Quest, right? Which like again, like if that had been like the plot of this Superman only movie, like he the kind of climax of the movie happens, and like if it had been that he finds himself and he finds like what he's really fighting for and like what he wants to be to people who see him as more than just a person, and like then like him just trying to encourage people to do good and be better. Um, like that would have been a great Superman movie, but then it wasn't. But then like he was
Then
only
we got
like,
another hour and a half of smashing things really quickly and lots of cuts.
but he was only in like 40 minutes of this movie. Like he
Yeah.
wasn't even in that much. It felt like there was barely any Superman in this movie.
There was almost as much V in this movie as Batman and Superman.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you,
much.
Navashin.
I thought this was a great Wonder Woman movie though. Like some people were like complaining that Wonder Woman was too like there wasn't enough of her. I'm like, no, that's like it's way more exciting that she's very mysterious, and even by the end of it, we don't know like anything about her. Like that was so cool.
I'm optimistic for Wonder Woman's movie, like most definitely.
Because Zack Snyder has nothing to do with it.
That's Wonder. But like, I don't know. Like she has an opportunity just like to get away from all this like current bullshit that's going on right now. There's something on her own.
Yeah, 1918. Come on, let's go back as far as we can.
Yeah, and just build her character up. Like that's definitely something that was missing in this movie. This characterization, like in any way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel if she gets that and like they bring her up the right way, then and I'm optimistic for that too, because like you have the woman director and like you can see it from her eyes, and I hope that turns out good at least.
Yeah, I think everything done with Wonder Woman in this movie was great. I will say, like hands down, best part about the movie. Super bummed out about that. Yes, but we can move past it together. But yeah, I mean, I want to know where they're going with this. I enjoyed this more than Man of Steel, but I have way more issues with it than I did Man of Steel, if that makes sense. Like I'm way more like on both sides of the fence about it.
That just stinks.
Yeah, it's just kind of a bummer.
Like it was on the same level as Man of Steel for me at first, and now it's like it's just getting low and lower every time I just think about it. Because like they had, like I said, they had a scene in this movie where they could even somewhat have redeemed Man of Steel a little bit. They had a scene for that, and they literally blew it up in our faces. So it bums me out. It really does.
Yeah, I mean,
they ruined Superman.
Like you're just gonna watch Superman the animated series from now on. And
I watched The World's Finest just like yesterday, and I was like, it was so good. And I'm probably gonna watch the whole entire thing again.
I haven't watched The World's Finest.
I need like 2 minutes, like put out a tweet or something like that, because I need to spoil something. Like, and then I really need to like.
I'm just gonna put it out there. Give me 1 second. Now is about to spoil something on bonus content. It's BVS related. Okay.
Like, give us 5 minutes, I say.
Give us 5 minutes. All right, it's out there.
Okay.
To people watching the video, we're about to spoil some stuff. Jump 5, 6, 7 minutes ahead if you don't want to hear it.
All right. So at the end of this movie, Superman dies.
Yeah.
And
which I totally knew was going to happen from the moment they were like, "Hey, Doomsday's in this movie." I'm like, "Well, great. Well, you're going to kill Superman in the second movie?"
But do you realize that just literally fucks up everything for a potential sequel for Superman in general? That fucks up everything, because obviously he's gonna come back to life, but then it's like he has no stakes anymore.
Yeah.
He can't die anymore. They pull that card. He can't die anymore.
Yeah, like
they literally fucks him up forever in this cinematic universe. Cause like they could have done a Justice League movie. They could have built that up. They could have made people emotionally invested in Superman, and like when his funeral actually happens, they could have all those superheroes that like he been involved with like be around them and like have this sincere moment. fucking emotion in this movie, but like they blew their wad. We can't have that anymore. We can't have that at all. And all the people who hate Superman is just like this is just building on top of that.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, he comes back to life. Oh, he can't fucking die. That's why I fucking hate Superman. Exactly that, man. It ruined Superman in every way, shape, or form.
You're so right. Like, no, yeah.
But hey, we had that great payoff of Diana Prince, who maybe said one thing to him,
Yeah.
mourning his loss.
Yeah, I guess like she knows who he is, and like it made sense for her to be there. Like, I guess like he's dead now. I'm like, yeah.
Oh,
but-
also, like, this was an actual thought I had in the movie. I wonder how many bagpipers there actually are in Kansas.
Yeah, right. How many? There's got to be just the one, right? Just the one.
I leaned over to my friend that I was with. I was like, they got the one guy in Kansas who can play the bagpipes.
No, but you're right. Like that, Justice League is being split into two parts, and that makes like so much sense as like the dark middle chapter ending of Justice League Part 1 for like the greatest hero to die. And they like did that in Batman versus Superman. What does that? That doesn't even fucking make sense.
No.
And like, you know, they should have redeemed. You're right, because they should have just redeemed Superman to the world in this eyes and redeemed it in.
So
Batman.
here's a question. Here's a question.
Yeah. Here we go.
What do you think about a Justice League just without Superman?
Like, I think that's interesting.
That's very interesting, but
That's not what they're gonna do.
But then,
No.
yeah, that's not what they're gonna do. Like, you're right, Scott.
But think about it. But think about it.
I'm thinking
What if they just don't revive Superman?
they already alluded to it at the end of the movie, so
Yeah,
it's too late for that. It, like,
What
you're
if it's
so
not
right,
immediate?
Scott, because if they had just been like, Superman's just dead and we're not bringing him back, but then this final shot of the movie is like the heartbeat in the fucking coffin again.
no,
I'm
no.
like, all right.
Justice League opens, and they're just like, did somebody feel that earthquake?
Yeah,
And
and
then
like now,
and the dirt goes back down, and they just pour more on.
yeah, they just pour more on. Like the thing is like they ruined the first half of Justice League Part 1 already because they have to bring Superman back, and that's a whole complicated process in itself. So like they've already ruined the next movie, presumably, and like everyone hates Superman, including the people that are going to see these movies, except for Nobishin and I. and like. They've pulled the trump card, the biggest trump card,
biggest
like,
one you can have.
All
If you're gonna
of DC
like,
Comics history.
If you want to blow people's mind and like end the series in like in a big way, that is it. Like in any big way, like the universe could be at the end, and Superman had to sacrifice himself to save everybody in the fucking universe, and he can't do that anymore because
Yep.
he can't die.
You can't die. So, GG. Thanks, Zack Snyder. It only took you 2 movies to ruin an entire cinematic universe. No, you're right, Nabishin. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you had to go through this.
And like the time's running out, but like yeah, the Senate scene. The Senate scene was like it
Ugh.
built up so good. It built up
It
so
did
good.
build up so good.
And like he could have like talked to the guy. He could have came from his point of view. Like I had to do what I had to do, and I'm sorry for like all these people fucking dying around me in Man of Steel. But like like
the idea
get-
of Superman talking this guy down from blowing himself up, and then like you evacuate everyone else, and then maybe Lex pulls the trigger from the end when he sees that the guy isn't gonna do it. Like that's a great fucking middle chapter of the scene of like this movie.
and you can see what he stands for. Because like in Man of Steel, like there was no like illusion that like he didn't kill anybody. Because like even his father said, "Oh, you can let those people fucking die as long as it doesn't reveal that you're a Superman or whatever." So like. It's like you could understand who this man is.
and like still the world had never seen Superman talk, and then they continued to not ever. All right,
It's 5 minutes. We're done.
there we go. Take the hat off. Spoilers are over. We're back at it. So anything else happened this week, guys?
I think bonus content is rolling long enough.
Let's just like call it there.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Unless Trevor, you've got anything going on that you want to talk about outside of this?
No, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Did we want to talk Daredevil at all?
We can talk about that towards the end of the show.
Okay.
So we'll have,
Yeah.
we'll have
Because like that's where this would normally go.
yeah.
but
we'll have
now
that.
she needed to talk about it right now.
Do you feel a little bit better?
I do. I
Okay,
do.
good.
Because like I went with my
It's like-
friends, and they're like Superman haters, and like
Oh.
they're Super Marvel people. So like, and like I couldn't like get my emotions out the right way, but you
Yeah.
guys helped me out, so thank you for that.
Yeah, like I mean, like Ethan is pretty much everyone I saw it with is in the same boat as me. Of like, they're really great moments, but like there's so many issues, so many. Um, and like when I left that theater, like no one that I'm friends with here is like as big a Superman fan as you are or me, Nabishin. So I was just like, it's just another bad Superman movie. And I'm kind of sad of it. Like they'll never make a good Superman movie again. It feels like, unless like in 20 years when they reboot this.
like once again, they could still do it
They
within this
could.
universe. They
Yeah.
could.
No,
They
like
just have to wait a full movie of
in
Justice
10
League versus
years,
Superman.
in 10 years, it would not surprise me if we have like, oh, the cinematic universe is going, but also here's a new like reboot one-off thing
Yeah.
to also
It's like
see.
Spider-Man
So
style.
exactly, yeah,
I
we'll
was
see.
about to ask
We
you,
will,
like,
we will see another Superman origin story in less than 10 years.
yeah, I was about to ask you, does this movie have a chain reaction, kind of like Amazing Spider-Man 2, and this kills the whole cinematic universe they were building up to?
It totally could.
Like, I don't know, man.
I feel like that Wonder Woman movie because it's happening.
That's
It's,
what
it's
That's
already
gonna
been
happen.
shot. Like I'm pretty sure they've wrapped production on Wonder Woman, and it's
Yeah.
all just now.
I feel
effects
that's
stuff.
his last hope. Like, honestly.
Yeah, that's this year too. So, or no, that's next year. Sorry,
That's next
I
year.
forgot. Suicide Squad's this year. Another movie I have zero faith in. So,
I am kind of curious, like where that exists within this world, though.
yeah, I
Hmm.
don't know. Hopefully after this movie, because I would like to see at least some kind of fallout from this, or at least to know that some significant amount of time is going to have passed between this and Justice League Part One.
I mean, I don't even have like expectations for that though. Like, if they refer to this movie, it will be in the same way that, like, the Marvel TV shows refer to the Marvel cinematic universe
Yeah,
movie.
Avengers 2 is referred to in Ant-Man, like something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think Suicide Squad's gonna be good. So here we are. Yeah, let's.
But you've got Will Smith saving the world.
Yeah, I mean, that worked. That works in some other movies. You guys see that After Earth? You guys see that? Yeah, Ben Affleck did a really good job, and so did Gal Gadot, which I believe is the correct pronunciation.
Something like that.
I've given up pretending to understand.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because I hear like 4 or 5 different people say, and that's how you really say it, but none of them said it the same way.
Yeah, you're all in the same room. You should know. We'll figure it out someday. Let's. I guess let's start the real show. Tony hasn't responded to me, so I assume he's dead. Like,
Could be dead.
I think that's the only natural assumption.
Yeah, I mean that's the only conclusion that I have. And I just got a text message from Barrett Courtney that says "ass down, face up." So we're all good. We're all set.
So
Probably.
just every text from Barrett Courtney.
Yeah, so just pretty much any text from him ever. All right, we'll start recording. I'm gonna count down from 5 to 1, then we'll hit record on 1 together.
So it's 5, 4, 3, 2, record.
Basically, yes, but
Okay.
I say 1 instead of record.
Yeah, he starts with 1 and then goes.
No, don't say
1,
this shit.
4.
Scott. Stop trying to fuck people up.
Just on 2, record. You'll hear it.
Stop it. You'll hear it.
I'm just gonna click every time you say a number. we'll just see what file you get at the end.
Yeah. Nabashin, you good? Scott, you good?
Yeah, I'm ready.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Like magic. We did it.
Yep.
Hooray!
Um.
Go team, go!
Oh. Silver PR said no voicemail this week.
Aw, thanks, Silver PR. You follow me, and I don't even get a voicemail on my episode.
He's probably got stuff to do or something.
Psh. That's my response. Psh.
Oh, pshaw.
Gonna go tweet him now.
We are live with the real shit now. No more BVS spoilers. All right. I feel pretty good now. I feel a little bit better too. There was a weight on me that I didn't even know was there. So that's good, I guess. I didn't play any video games this week, really, so we'll see how this goes.
Then I guess it'll just be my turn.
Well, Trevor's here too. You know, he plays video games.
Well, I mean, like, but my turn to be Alex.
Oh yeah, to talk for 45 minutes about how you're in love with Stardew Valley.
Yeah.
Caleb tweeted out some thoughts about Batman vs Superman. He was very excited, so I want to read these. Batman vs Superman is such a mixed bag. Never use mixed bag, Caleb. Somewhere out there, I'm going to tell you. Had some really cool small things surrounded by incoherent plot without purpose. Batman was cool. Justice League setups were cool. Wonder Woman fight scene was actually pretty cool. I want to like this movie, but I say all those things as a big DC fan, and ultimately that's the only thing that got me through the movie. Single tear pours down all of our cheeks. You're not wrong, Caleb. All right.
Just don't say mixed bag.
Yeah, just don't say mixed bag. You'll get there.
Unless, of course, everything in that mixed bag is good.
Yeah, unless it's like actually pistachios, like some pretzels, peanuts, almonds. Then it's actually a mixed bag. All right, let's do this. It is Saturday, March 26, 2016, and you are listening to Irrational Passions podcast. I am Alex O'Neill, and I'm your host this evening. With me, I have Scott Guthier.
Hello.
Brian Nobishin Jackson.
Hey, would you crackers like to hear the story of the Loch Ness Monster? Hoo-wah, must have been 7 or 8 years ago. Me and the little lady were on this boat, you see, all alone at night. Then all of a sudden, this huge creature, this giant crustacean from the Paleolithic era, comes out of the water. Oh, we were so scared. Lord have mercy, I jumped out of the boat saying, Thomas, what is this giant creature? I stood up and looked in her in big red eyes. Oh, it was so scary. And I yelled, what do you want from us, monster? And the monster bent down and said, I need about $350. $350? That's right. I said, I ain't giving you no $350, you goddamn Loch Ness monster. Get your own damn money. I gave him $1. She gave him $1. I thought he'd go away if I gave him $1. No, he's not going to go away, woman. If you give him $1, he's going to assume you have some more. He tricked me. I'm done.
I look forward to you having to do that all over again at the end of the year special.
Oh, yeah.
Anytime Nobishin starts an opening with, let me tell you, crack is something, I know it's going to be good.
Well, Alex, you don't know that?
He doesn't watch South Park.
It's Chef from South Park, yeah.
Oh, okay. It sounded really familiar. Okay. Now we know. And also joining us this week is Trevor Starkey.
Howdy-ho!
To round us out, full South Park references. Hey, Trevor, how you doing?
Doing all right. Got my Irrational Passion shirt on.
Oh, hell yeah, you do.
Yep.
Now we have to get everyone who has an Irrational Passion shirt on. That's just how it's going to fall apart.
I think so.
You were on our Game of the Year guest top 10s. I'm trying to remember.
Yes.
There's so many different names we have for all that garbage. And you are also a lovely writer, I would say.
Oh, thank you.
You're very familiar with the written word.
That's yeah. I don't know why I'm trying to get into the written word in a increasingly digital and audio medium, but yes, I write a lot.
And you're the maker, founder, owner, and proprietor of TrevorTrove.com.
Yes, and oh damn it, what was Tony's title? I need Pussy Wrangler. Was it?
Pussy Master.
Pussy Master. Yeah, I gotta add that to my
to your resume.
to my resume.
Luckily, Tony did not get the business cards that said "Irrational Passions Official Pussy Master" printed. But
Yet.
Let's just leave it at that. Thanks for coming on, Trevor. Honestly,
Thanks for having me.
Don't know how to follow it up. We had some bonus content this week that is full of Batman versus Superman spoilers.
Indeed.
If you want to go watch that, Nabishin had some stuff he had to get off his chest.
Mm-hmm.
Ends up we all kind of did.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's interesting. Go listen to that. You'll know what we want to say. It's possible that there might be an official Irrational Passions Batman v Superman spoiler cast at some point. I'm in talks with our resident spoiler Jacob Bryant to maybe make that happen. We'll see. He's got a lot of thoughts and feelings. But yeah, we got a good show lined up for you. Trevor, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And Tony's not here. I don't know where he is.
Nobody does.
And yeah, neither does Scott.
He's out mastering some pussy.
Yeah, clearly he's taming kittens in back alleys. Clearly that's all he does. But yeah, he texted me like an hour ago. I just assumed he would be here, but I guess not. Yeah, let's just get right into it. Got some housekeeping. Some stuff went on the website. Actually, a lot of stuff went up on the website. Way more than I thought would. Tony started a new feature called $1 1 sentence, which you could interpret it in a variety of ways. But basically, he takes any game like released from $5 independent game to like a full $60 game, and basically writes one sentence for every dollar appointed to it. So Salt and Sanctuary is $17.99. So they wrote 17 sentences trying to review the game, or at least critically analyze it. It's an interesting idea, and like I told him, I'd be curious to see that actually applied to some $5 games, and it seems like he has some ideas for games that he wants to do that with in the future.
What do you do with a free-to-play game?
I don't know why he couldn't just write a goddamn review, but
I saw that.
Those are
that
boring.
post. I really enjoyed the idea behind it, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see kind of what different forms it takes.
Yeah. And he's interested to see where that goes as well. We finally, after much background shuffling, launched the new version of Monthly Passions, which is the Monthly Passions podcast, or MPP, as it is affectionately known. And that's kicked off with the February 2016 edition. Jarrett is now the host of that. Jarrett Green, our resident wrestling aficionado. And he had Michael Martin, Tony, and another podcaster on the February edition to kind of talk Street Fighter and a couple other releases from the month. So we're already looking to have some new guests on for the March edition. So if you played anything in March that you want to talk about, like The Division or something like that, Fire Emblem was February as well. Salt and Sanctuary, The Division, and there's another one that Jarrett's looking to cover as well. Yeah, let Jarrett know. He's at Jarrett John on Twitter. And then, of course, the podcast went up with Tom Hawkins, which was a great show. I hope people listen to it. I enjoyed it. I was on it, but I also enjoyed it. Also, okay, never mind. I thought Tony was in the Google Doc, but that T was just Trevor. So I was really confused. That's it. Let's talk about video games. I don't have that much to talk about, so I can go first. I did write down some notes also. Like I said, I would. Some of these are for bonus content. I forgot about them. I just have Batman versus Superman full stop written down as one of these, so I can check that off. That didn't end up happening. I haven't been playing video games as much, which was not playing video games is one of my notes. Yeah, I've just been super busy this week, which is, I guess not uncharacteristic of me, but instead of playing video games...
Around with your hair all week long.
Yeah, trying to figure out how to fucking tame this mess.
Yeah, or take pictures of it.
Yeah, I took a lot of pictures.
Oh yeah, it's so wild, Alex. Oh my god.
Listen.
Your hair. Whatever will you do?
Listen, just because it's not quite as long as your luscious locks doesn't mean that I have to feel insecure.
But you should. You should absolutely feel insecure.
Yeah, I got like a whole bunch of hair clips and scrunchies this week to just tame it, which I did while I was cleaning up. I cleaned up down here where I record. It always makes me feel a little bit better. It's just, it's like a rough week as far as like feeling down and outs. But I talked to my mom for like an hour on Monday night while I was doing my taxes, which was just a very weirdly adult conversation just in general. That made me feel better. I haven't gotten the chance to talk to my mom in a while. So it was good to just sit down and talk and catch up a little bit. But she'll be here in like the next week or so, and hopefully we'll get dinner because my birthday's coming up as well. But yeah, I instead of playing video games, like I had one night, which was like Wednesday night, to really sit down and dive into some video games, and I watched like 9 straight episodes of Daredevil season 2. I was up until 4 a.m. But then I finished it, and I had to finish it before watching Batman versus Superman. So
I
the deal.
don't know how those two are related, but
Well, like I couldn't watch Batman.
Were you
versus
going to get
Superman.
confused?
No, and then go watch Daredevil.
Wait, is Ben Affleck Batman or Daredevil in this?
I'm so confused. I couldn't
Daredevil.
watch. He was Daredevil.
Ba-bum-bum.
Weirdly enough, I couldn't watch Batman vs Superman and then go watch Daredevil and then feel good about that movie. I already knew that was going to be the case, so I had to get one completely just out of the way before I could experience the other, which was a good idea. Also, like, it's not really a spoiler to say, but I totally had forgotten that there was the Luke Cage teaser at the end of Batman v Superman. Or, god damn it, this is exactly what I was talking about, and that was a nice surprise at 4:00 in the morning when I finished that, and I was delirious and not really all there. But I did play some more Persona 4 Golden, which, again, like I said, I'm only going to bring up specific stuff since, I've talked about this before. Just got to the point. Well, I've been doing the thing that Tony, or Nabishin, you and Tony did, I should say. I really am a mess this evening. Where, like, you would beat the whole dungeon, someone's dungeon, in, like, one day, so you'd have...
Oh, yeah. That's the way to do it.
Which is really hard, by the way, with those earlier dungeons. But yeah, that game is like way easier to me now because there is like totally in Golden as opposed to the original. There's like a system to work with the fucking golden hands that you can just if you guarantee yourself shuffle time before fighting them, like you're pretty likely to get at least one experience buff from beating those guys, and then you get like 2 levels every time you beat them.
Mm-hmm.
Which is nice, I just like been working that strategy, and I've been progressing so quickly. Like I'm already like level 45 or whatever, and I've been playing for like 39 hours, but most of that is out of the dungeons. That and like I love that Persona 4 is simultaneously like a great podcasting game, like to just grind levels and find new personas and stuff, and also like a really like I have to pay my full attention to this when I'm outside of that doing social links and everything. But yeah, I got to the point where I could start hearing Rise social link and I was getting really emotional. So the only day I really had to play was yesterday. Like sit down and play any video games was yesterday. And yeah, it was just a reminder of seeing some of that stuff. Not even all of it. I haven't finished it yet. But like the level 5 of that social link at that point is really, really intense. And yeah, I'd forgotten how great that stuff was. And Kanji is like secretly like one of the best characters ever. When you take the Troy Baker out of Kanji, I forget how much that removes, that like kind of takes away from that character. And like it's been so long since I actually got to hear Troy Baker's Kanji, that he doesn't really add a lot to that character, I think. And the only other thing I've been playing is Spelunky, which continues to frustrate and depress me on multiple levels. So I don't know why I still play that game, but it's so good. Like I beat it twice this week, and that was fun. So yeah, but that's all I've been playing. Nabishin, did you got anything?
No, man, just more Pokemon Yellow. I'm at the Elite Four now. It's just a matter of just like I'm still kind of under level to like actually fight them. and so I'm just grinding out until like I eventually just beat him. So I'm pretty much at
Okay.
the end of that game. Other than that, though, nothing else really. Just a little bit more Mass Effect, a little bit more Witcher 3, and that's about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Scott, what about you?
Played a couple of games.
Okay.
We're gonna start with the important one.
Okay. We're gonna
'Cause
go
the other
right
one's
into
kind
it.
of a rant. I
Okay.
wanted Tony to be here for it too.
Well, Tony's dead. He hasn't responded to any of our messages.
You let Trevor go
Uh,
first, and so you hold on to it until he possibly gets here.
Yeah.
yeah,
if
so
you-
yeah, I'm just gonna go to Stardew Valley.
Okay.
So what do you guys know about Stardew Valley?
I know it's terrifying, and it threatens to consume me every time I see it on the Steam store.
Yeah, likewise. Super Nintendo, it seems like that would basically steal my life away, so
Mhm.
I'm avoiding it for my own sake.
Mhm.
Well, so a lot of people will probably describe it to you as like a farming sim, and
That's how
at
Tony
first
would
glance,
describe it as. Yeah.
right, as he described it last time, is that's it's accurate at first, but that is not nearly the focus of the game.
Mm-hmm. But
It
you tell us the
is.
focus of
It
the game?
is. The focus of the game is pretty much the people. You don't have to play it that way, but none of the game's aspects are. I want to say none of the game's mechanics in terms of play and fun are all that great
Okay.
on their own.
But together, by our powers combined,
No.
Heart.
something heart.
Uh, but the people in the game are pretty cool.
Okay. I've definitely
Heart.
seen heart again. I've seen Patrick Klepek tweeting about the people. He's been playing it for the first time recently, so
hmm So at first, if you think this is just like another chore game, you're only half right, because that is a lot of what the game tells you that it is.
Mhm.
But there's also a lot of other things in the game that make it so much more than just a chore game.
Okay.
For instance, to compare it with Animal Crossing, you know those events that they had? They're
Yeah.
just kind of dumb,
Yeah.
little fun, but
They're
after you
fun.
little, but
Okay.
after you do them once, you're kind of like, I don't ever want to do this again.
Yeah. Yes.
The events in this game were a little different.
They're more
they're-
depressing.
Hmm?
They're more depressing.
No,
Okay.
they're more pointless, to say the least.
Okay.
But they feel a lot better in the world.
Okay. They're contextual, one might say. A lot of talk about context this episode.
It's
real
once
important
again,
to
so
us.
it's one of those things that's hard to explain,
Okay.
which is kind of why I want you to play it.
Okay. Do you have any like favorite characters or whatever?
Not yet.
Okay. You just hate everyone equally.
Could also say that.
So
How much
like,
time have you put into it, Scott?
Yeah.
Let's see. I started playing, I want to say this week, and that is a 20-hour count.
Whew.
Yep.
Yeah, it just seems like, is it true that this game is just so scary that it will suck you in and you'll never let go?
Yeah,
Very
it's
good.
a little worse than Spelunky
Oh,
in that
God,
matter.
Don't even say that. Don't tell you about Spelunky.
But here's the thing: there is a start to this game, and there is an end to this game.
Mhm.
So once the game is done, you will also be done
Okay.
for the most part.
Okay. There's closure, let's say.
Right, because there's a story that plays all the way through. You have to do a lot more work than most games to find it, though not as much as like a Dark Souls game. Not that kind of there. But but yeah, this game's really good.
Yeah. Would you say that the game is fun? I'm just curious.
I already said that.
Okay. I didn't know. You said it was good, but you didn't say it was fun.
I think so. I think I said it was fun.
Okay. Yeah, like I didn't know anything about like the dungeon kind of crawling part of it. Or,
Yeah. So
I didn't even know this
yeah,
game had
yeah.
dialogue choices.
Yep. There's those.
Yeah. Tony did a
Uh,
real shit job of describing it, is what I'm saying.
well, yeah, and what I'm gonna do today is I went ahead and I told you how I feel about the games, a bit
Yeah.
what's in it. Now I'm just gonna go in and describe exactly what you do and how you do it.
Yeah, so it's like days, right?
Yes. Okay. So you have. I don't feel like doing math right now, but there's 4 seasons, of course, and
What?
there's 28 days in each season.
Okay,
Uh,
weird.
so there's about. Again, I don't feel like doing math right now. So you wake up at 6. You want to get in bed by 12, and there's a stamina penalty if you go on below that.
Uh-huh.
Each second is a minute in the game.
Okay.
You only actually see time increase every 10 seconds, though, but it goes by 10 minutes.
Okay.
So once again, I don't feel like doing math, but it essentially comes out to something like, I want to say, 12, 14 minutes a day.
Okay.
Does time stop when you're inside on this one?
It only stops when you're in a menu.
Oh, okay. That was because Harvest Moon did the same kind of thing, but like if you were in a chicken coop or something, or in a house in town, or in your house, time froze indoors.
Time does not freeze unless you're playing a mini game, talking to somebody, or in an inventory space.
Okay.
If you are walking around, time's going. Oh,
Super.
there's also the events, which have a controlled time lapse.
Okay.
Basically, they start at a certain time, and most of them will end that day.
Yeah.
So, warning before that first event: do all your farming,
Then go to the event.
then go to the event.
Yeah. Hot
Or
tips.
if you need to do a little mining for that day, there's a path right outside the top of your house. Go that way instead.
Okay. Cameron Abbott tweeted it, Trevor and myself, saying it's dungeon crawler, farm sim, small town drama. I hit level 120 in the mine and am married to the teacher year 1.
Oh, congratulations, Cam! I know that was your dream like 2 nights ago. Congrats on banging your teacher.
On executing. That's like a very cryptically written tweet.
Well, kind of. Yeah, the person he's talking about is there's no school in that town.
Mm-hmm.
Too small.
Okay.
So the person is basically the teacher for the 2 kids of the town.
Okay. And go on.
No, that's it.
That's it. Well, are you courting anyone right now, Scott? Like, I don't know what. Like, where are you in the
Like-
first year?
Where am I? Okay, so in my first year, I just hit fall.
Okay.
So through 20 hours playing the game,
So you're halfway through the first year, pretty much.
I'm halfway through the first year, which a lot of people are going to say, what did you do? How is it taking this long?
It is weird that like 28
Because,
days.
like, if you do the math this time, it should take you half the time it took me, like, to play this much to get that far.
Yeah, well, it's what,
Probably less.
I'm gonna start doing some math in the background.
Did you start playing and then figure out, oh, I can lay out my farm so much better, and so you restarted?
No.
Okay, because
What's
that's
been there's a
what
few
always
things
happens to me in these games.
Yeah, exactly.
So I've been pretty good about. Okay, so one of the biggest reasons that it's been taking me so long is before I do anything in the day, I open my inventory, and I think about what I have to do and when everything has to get done.
Yeah.
Because for a few days that I didn't do that, everything got screwed up.
And if your cows just aren't producing enough milk, you got to beat the shit out of them. it's just the way it falls apart, man. If you don't
If
express
only
your
they weren't
authority-
invincible.
If only they would listen. But they're stupid. Can't
So yeah.
understand me. I'm going through a
So
moment
there's
of
that.
fantasy over
That's
here, so
that's
don't worry
been a lot of time.
Okay.
And because the game was open a lot
about it. Mhm.
just while I was doing other things. Because
Yeah.
I get sidetracked while I was trying to plan out the day.
Mhm.
Then I have to do it over again. And the other thing is at least for me, the game's had a bit of a couple of bugs.
Okay.
So the game kind of has like a social link system. When you get to certain points, different events
Cool.
play out.
Okay.
So
Checking off all
We're
of
not-
Alex's boxes.
Yeah, pretty much.
before yep. So for me, the game's crashed several times every time I triggered a certain event on a certain day.
That's
And I'm like, hey, listen, I need to go into this building today for the plan to work out as is.
uh-huh.
because for some reason, probably one of the days I needed to give this person an item for a quest, and what they were going to do is they were going to for that day they were going to open up shop
Mm-hmm.
and then go to bed immediately and stay in that place. But every time I would try to go in, the game would crash.
Okay. So that sounds like my nightmare scenario.
Yep. And of course, it's a 2-day quest. Basically, you have a calendar in town next to a shop with almost every day or every other day there will be a quest right next to it.
Okay.
With some kind of reward. They're not at all mandatory, but I do them because it's one of the easiest ways to grind up the friendship points.
Okay.
And because after you're done farming, what are you supposed to do?
You're supposed to look into the mirror and realize what a mess your life is. I'm pretty sure that's the specifically.
Enjoy the fresh air.
Yes.
Right.
I don't think you're supposed to micromanage every minute of your day.
I'm pretty sure Trevor just looks in the mirror and he does the.
Well, you see, if you don't,
I do the Momoa.
If you don't, you'll end up running around town twice and then being late for bed and then not being able to water the plants the next day.
You can't have that.
You can't have that.
Because you oversleep, yeah.
Yeah. It's like me today. You oversleep and then it's 4 o'clock.
Well,
and
kind
you're
of. If
depressed.
you go to bed too late, you don't oversleep, you always wake up at the same time, your stamina is just reduced.
Yeah.
Okay.
Take like a penalty.
Yeah,
It's interesting hearing about the game for like in depth for the first time because I've seen it as a Harvest Moon kind of comparison, and so that's kind of how I view. And in Harvest Moon, yeah, if you overwork yourself and go to bed super late, you'll wake up at like noon the next day instead of the normal 8 a.m. or something like that.
Well, you
so.
gotta get up at 8 a.m., but you're just gonna feel real shitty about it.
Yeah.
Well, so can you just not sleep, Scott?
No.
Okay.
At 2 p.m., you will pass out.
Okay. 2
2
p.m.
a.m.
You'll end up in bed.
2
2 a.m. 2 a.m.
2 a.m.
Yeah, and you'll pass out and you'll wake up normal time and you'll be exhausted.
What a pansy! Come on,
I don't know
man.
if it's the effect exhausted because also if you overexert your stamina bar, not only will you not be able to actually do anything afterwards, but you are automatically set to half stamina the next day.
Ugh.
If you even if you take an item to increase your stamina.
So you just can't get as much done.
Kind of. Once again, you can use items to increase your stamina, but generally the way it plays out, you want to be done your farming before the shops open up.
Yeah.
Because if you needed to go into every shop for that day, you need to have pretty much the best route of the day because it will take you the entire time of walking around the city to make those stops before they close.
That's so crazy. Like the idea of like the path you take to the stores is important because you don't have enough time to visit all of them is terrifying.
Yeah,
it's a life simulator.
Yeah, this is like
No.
getting scarily real over here.
The way it works is you think you would have enough time to visit all of them while they're all tended,
You would think that, wouldn't you?
especially while they're all open.
Yeah.
However, each store, I found out pretty late in the game, only runs from 9 to 4. They might be in the building, they're just not going to be tending the store past that
Past that time?
time frame.
Okay.
So it's a couple minutes, sure, but you don't move very fast, not
Every
very
second
fast at all.
counts.
So it'll take you almost a minute per store,
Okay.
and generally, so that's what you have essentially 8 minutes.
Fuck.
So,
Killing me.
and the travel times I want to say from Pierre's store to Marnie's store, which is a different screen. I don't know how to pronounce these names all too well.
Pierre.
Something like that.
Marnie.
But Alex, I imagine you can also not have to try and do everything in every day.
Yes,
What are you
like,
saying?
spread it out over weeks and months or seasons.
that is how you have to do it.
But it sounds like
if you
Scott's
travel.
trying to maximize his efficiency.
You're min-maxing your time. You're turning this into your life. This
Yep.
game sounds great. We need to
Yeah.
stop talking about it
Because
I'm going to
here's the
die.
thing: if you don't try and min max your things,
Yeah.
you will have a hard time getting around to some of the other parts of the game in a timely manner.
Well, as we learned,
Granted, I've almost hit the back end of farming,
yeah.
and I just hit fall. I'm like 2 days into fall, and I've already almost hit the back end of farming, where I have forget sprinklers, forget the part where you automate your watering, so you don't have to do it anymore with sprinklers.
Mm-hmm.
You have, instead of doing that, the back end of farming is you grow trees, and then you turn the fruit from the trees into wine.
Nice.
So I am not even a year of the way through,
Mhm.
and I'm already to that kind of a point.
I was going to say, to be
So-
fair, I don't know anything about min-maxing, as we learned in our Final Fantasy Explorers discussion. I'm basically just a human garbage truck on fire.
So even if you don't like min max your time,
Mhm. You'll
you're
figure it
still
out.
going you're still going to try. You're still going to try,
Okay.
and it's a good idea to at least try.
Okay.
Uh,
Sounds like you've got a good strat, though, Scott. Maybe you'll have to like.
I
write down, like, a
have
map.
probably way too much practice into doing this, and
Okay.
yes, I am way far behind where I should be compared to the amount of time I put into the game.
Whatever, man.
So-
You figured it out.
Uh, so yeah,
Somebody on Twitter.
basically that's how little time you have in each day, and if you have your farm too big without enough sprinklers,
Mhm.
essentially what I've been reading and hearing, because a couple of the TeamSpeak guys play the game,
Mhm.
is that they spend almost over half their day watering their plants.
Jesus.
And essentially what ends up
waste.
happening is they have enough time after doing that to go to a store.
The worst case scenario.
Yep, worst case scenario.
Cody
Because-
Bernstein on Twitter,
because
just
for
real
an-
quick, he tweeted at us and Trevor, saying, "Be sucked in, fall into it, let it consume you." So,
Yep, so basically that's farming.
yeah.
And then you have
Your
mining.
dungeon. Your
You have
dungeon.
your
crawler.
dungeon,
Okay.
which is reason why having your farming done pretty early in the day before those shops open up
Mhm.
is important, because so pretty much you can either go farming, fishing, do your shop runs, or if it's somebody's birthday, go figure out what they want and give it to them.
Wait, Scott, there's fishing in this game.
Yeah, there's fishing in this
We
game.
gotta shut this shit down.
Because guess what you do in fishing?
Oh God, what?
You just take a guess.
I don't know. You do you rapidly mash the X button to reel the fish in?
No.
Do you hold the circle button like you do in Persona 4?
I mean, that's how I do it, but that's not how you have to do it.
Okay. Can you
Um,
automate fishing? This is the real important question.
no.
Okay.
Here's yes and no.
Okay. There are layers to this. All right.
Yeah, but we're not there yet. We're
Okay.
doing mining.
Okay. You're mining.
So the reason why mining is important, regardless of what stage you are at in the game, is because in order to upgrade your tools, of course, you need the materials to do so. You get those through mining.
Yeah.
So you have your 4 basic tools that you can upgrade, which is your
Is this
hoe.
where the game becomes Minecraft?
More no. Hey, this is
I
where
like
this
your
is this is
reluctance to commit to anything, Scott.
this is where your game turns into pseudo Zelda.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's what I've heard.
Where basically it's you head into this cave, which isn't available to you until, I don't know, a couple of days into the game. You have your basic tools: your hoe, your pickaxe, your watering can, and your axe.
Hmm.
And for your playthrough, the pickaxe is the most important one to upgrade first.
Yeah.
because
Get the
it.
fishing rod better.
No.
Okay, I was just living
You
the
can
dream.
you can upgrade the fishing rod, but those are that you just buy those.
Okay.
So essentially, the reason you upgrade your pickaxe is because the further you go in the mine, the harder the stones are to break. And by the harder, it means the more hits they take to break. So if you're going the first time you go through, I'm pretty sure it takes 2 hits of stone to break. You're not going through that mine very fast. You're not getting all that ore out of your day.
Kind of sounds like a SteamWorld Dig in that regard. I don't know if you've ever played that, Scott.
Never played it.
Yeah, you like upgrade your pickaxe, and that will like lower the amount of hits it takes to break through certain parts of.
That's exactly
it's gonna be
that.
very much like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
It doesn't lower, and in turn, that lowers the energy you have and the time it takes to go through a certain mine, which is important because you don't have that much time in your day,
Yeah.
and you cannot mine forever if you're trying to farm and or do other things.
What does it like behoove you to like focus in on one aspect? Like, all right, I want to focus in on mining, or I want to focus in on farming, or do you have to kind of split your attention?
It depends
Okay.
on how you play.
Okay.
That's the great part about it.
Yeah.
You can say, hey, listen, this farm biz,
Hey, listen.
I ain't about all that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go dungeon crawling forever.
Okay. Forever.
And you can do that.
That's cool.
You can actually do that and give people a gift that they'll like.
Yeah. And
No matter who they are.
You'll get enough money from like.
And you'll get enough money to do that. You'll get enough that. You can do that with fishing. You'll get enough money. You might with fishing's hands down like the worst thing that you can do.
Yeah.
In terms of like money and giving people gifts, fishing's like the worst thing you can do because like not many people like fish.
Yeah. I mean, that's valid. Not everyone's a pescatarian.
Right.
But what about when you like? Do you have a kitchen where you can cook the fish and make?
Have that
because people are gonna like that more.
Yeah, they're gonna like that a lot more. But you need to farm as well. Almost everything requires you to farm as well.
Oh, yeah. Give some ladies some sushi.
Yeah. If you're a skilled chef. Okay.
Yeah,
Scott, I'm gonna get it. I have to stop you because I'm dying.
Okay.
But you like it a lot. I can tell that you like it a lot.
Do you want to like it?
I do.
I think you just sold me on it.
Yeah, like honestly, hearing like the details of it, the most exciting part is that you can validly play it in multiple different ways.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because
okay, so like here's the thing.
But
the game tells you what you're supposed to do, and whatever.
All right. I'm into that.
Okay, because I'll actually let you figure this one out. But here is one that I do want to tell you.
Okay.
The way that I play the game is akin to the opposite way in the direction that I went.
Okay.
Because I'm min-maxing my time in terms of almost everything that I can possibly do. And however, I went with the community center. Again, I'm going to leave this a little ambiguous because you'll figure this out later. However, there's also a Joja Mart route, which can do the same thing as the community center if you purchase a pass.
Okay.
And it pretty much upgrades the shop to Joja Mart forever.
Yeah. It's like in the Tom Nook Emporium.
It becomes just as good and in some cases better than Pierre's shop.
Okay.
Except for instead of having to do everything in the game, you can do whatever you want and then purchase the upgrades from the community center.
Okay. Clever. I like it.
You can decide if you want to, though.
Yeah. I like that. It sounds really cool. It sounds like a game I'd want to play on Vita also. Then again, that's like every video game, and then I never play my Vita, and then
Because your Vita's broken. You need to stop saying that.
I know. I'm seriously
Okay, so I have a new thing for you to say.
Okay.
Nah.
You need to be jealous, Alex.
It sounds like a thing I should buy a Vita for. Is that what you're
No,
gonna say?
no. What you need to say is,
Uh-huh.
sounds like something that I'd like to play on a working Vita.
I found out how much money I'm getting back from my taxes, which was a good number, and I'm like, that could be some Vita money, or
You're
it
not
could.
going to buy another Vita.
I've got my beautiful Persona Vita just out of reach.
I could at least pay to fix my Vita or go through the
There's an
process
idea. Sure. Yeah.
to
That makes
get
more
it
sense.
fixed.
That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, but they're comparable in price.
All right.
Really?
You're the ones
Yeah.
about the iPhone game, and we're going through this.
Is it the
This
fucking
one's
Clash
gonna.
Royale?
Yep.
God damn it, Scott!
This is another breakdown too.
No,
So-
no, we did the
No,
breakdown last
No,
week.
hey! This is my turn to talk for 45 minutes.
God damn it, Scott! You're killing me with this Clash Royale. It sounds like the grossest game in the world.
It just got grosser too.
Cards and tower defense. That's what I remember from last week.
Yep. Yep.
We're good. We've
So-
got it covered, right?
Not quite.
How much have you
So-
put? How much have you paid into it, Scott?
$0.
Sean Pitts said
I
the
don't.
blonde guy is really
I don't
pretty,
pay. I don't.
so
I don't pay if I don't have to with these kinds of games.
I just
Nope.
wanted to share that
Great
with
call.
you all.
The grosser they are, the quicker I drop them.
Uh-huh.
Then, which is coming to the. I'll start this off with I'm very, very close to dropping this game.
Okay.
And that I know that wasn't the
Has it finally
case.
broken you?
No. May have broken Tony.
That's good.
That's
Tony
why
needed to
you
be
need
broken.
to
So, with this game, you have three main styles of play. You have Swarm, Rush,
Yeah.
and Field Control.
Are they all the same? Just tower defense?
No. Swarm is where essentially you build your deck to quickly cycle your cards,
Mhm.
to constantly throw enemies on the field and overwhelm the opponent.
Okay.
Push is
Like zone
where
rushing.
right. And like while you do this, you of course you have a couple of counter cards so you can keep your elixir advantage and let that grow, as well as just let the sheer amount of enemies on the field that you have not really give a shit about their counters and give yourself an elixir advantage regardless of what they play. It's a really, really strong deck once you meet a certain condition. I'll talk about that in a little bit.
Okay.
You have your rush deck, which is you're essentially looking for a single point in which you have the advantage. Then you send cards that rush to the tower to take it out, and then you cycle your cards to rinse repeat.
Oh, wait for your moment and strike.
Then your field control deck is essentially where you put towers on your field and you cycle the game about countering everything in their deck.
Mm-hmm.
A lot like a rush deck, except for you whittle away at their tower, or kind of like you would with a swarm deck.
Okay. Which
And the
strategy
way
do
the
you
balance,
like?
field control.
Okay.
Because basically it's in the rush, you really only have to counter them once or twice in a crucial moment.
Mhm.
With field control, you're doing it the entire game.
So you feel like you're in
With
control,
swarm,
I'd say.
you're just not.
Okay.
Okay, so here's why I said that the game got a little grosser.
Okay.
Which do you think putting money into the game? Which style of play do you think that helps the most?
Probably Swarm.
By a lot.
Yeah.
By a lot.
Because I feel like Rush, you have to kind of like know what you're sending out at what time.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, right. And with Swarm, it's you still can't send things out.
Mm-hmm.
Like then you still have to start that Swarm.
Yeah.
But once it's started,
There's no stopping it.
you really can't unless your deck is. It's a really bad idea to do this unless your deck is anti-Swarm.
Mhm.
You don't want to build an anti-deck because if you build an anti-deck, your deck is not good against any of the other two decks.
Yeah.
And that meaning you're not good against your own deck,
Mhm.
what your main deck, or the deck that would counter you.
Yeah.
So
just-
you basically you have a 1/3 chance of winning.
yeah.
That's not a good no.
So it's kind of like rock paper scissors if you go that route.
Right. There's of course it's a little more complicated than that. Those are just the three main fields of how you do it.
Okay.
So
their money
why this is
laundering has ruined everything with their swarm decks.
kind of. It's not the why it's gross is right here. The game was fine
Uh-huh.
until they had a patch about, I want to say this week, I want to say around Monday, Tuesday. And what they did is they took all the field control cards and they nerfed the shit out of them. Which,
Okay.
of course, who do the field control cards benefit?
The people who don't do swarm?
The people who don't. No, actually, swarm counters field control.
Okay.
So, however, field control is also the best way to play if you don't put any money into the game,
Okay.
because it is also the deck that requires the least amount of levels to be effective where you are.
Okay. So
Um,
basically they fucked the people like you and Tony who don't want to spend any money on this.
Very hard, because they also went ahead and they buffed Swarm right after, and in the same patch.
Okay.
So what they did is they took all the core towers, and they dropped their health, their duration, and for some of them their damage. For one of this one's not too big. They broke a combo where you could throw a tower in front of a bow that could shoot their towers from across the river,
Yeah.
and then have a couple of buffers in front of it,
Nice.
which I can see. It wasn't super valid because, well, one, if you have a swarm deck, that didn't matter. There was that deck was busy slowly shooting. Okay, well, the Expo is really fast, but it was busy trying to kill the swarm and failing, while the card in front of it was dying very quickly because that card's very slow, and then they'd overwhelm the bow, and then they'd go for it. Or they just stick a card like the Giant, which you have right off the get-go.
I do want
Like
to say
for a 5 cost against a 10 cost combo, and then you'd lose. Both cards would lose.
I
The
do want to
Giant
say,
would kill them
Scott,
both.
that the latest patch was credited with quote unquote bug fixes. And there's no balancing involved. I'm just kidding. That's just what it says. I'm sure it's full of bullshit. That's what I was checking.
So basically, and what makes it gross is that they straight up said that, hey, we like Swarm, not field control, in the patch notes. And I'm like,
Jeez.
Jesus. Because the game just got a lot grosser.
I appreciate them, like I like the idea of having multiple strategies, but you're right, it gets so much worse when they lean into the strategy that specifically makes them more money, and then
right,
tell
because
people that are playing it that they like that strategy the most for obvious reasons. Oh.
So basically, that the style of play, field control, is hit so hard that it's just not a valid style of play anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially, if somebody who doesn't pay any money tries to go Swarm, they will fail.
Yeah. Because they don't have the cards to do it.
Right. Basically, when I was like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna test this out, and I'm gonna see how it works, because I had just gotten the cards to play it.
Yeah.
And I dropped down to the beginning of Arena 3, and I was like, okay. Then I tried a rush strategy.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't lose all the way up to I'm almost at Arena 5. And it's basically, whenever I would lose in Swarm, it was their cards were pretty much just a higher level than mine. So they would outswarm me.
Yeah.
And then I'd lose.
For reference, I'm looking at the patch notes, which the patch went live 3 days ago. For reference.
Mhm.
And one of the things that says, one of our core design principles is quote unquote offense over defense, which you'll no doubt hear us reference many times. And they said they're not entirely there yet, but they'll be tweaking the game in that direction moving forward. So
Yeah, so now you see how gross it is.
So gross.
So
gross. I mean, knowing how the game works,
mm-hmm.
It is gross. I guess to the layman who just walks in and says, "Oh yeah, cool, that sounds fun." And like
Right, and like
no,
I can understand where they're coming from, because how the field control deck works is they try and outplay in the first cycle of cards, like for the first 8 cards, they try and set up a bait,
mhm.
counter what you counter to put down, gain, I want to say, 3 to 4 elixir advantage, take your tower, and then turtle the rest of the game.
Yeah.
And if they know they're going to lose, like from the get-go,
Mhm.
they turtle the entire game so it ends in a draw. So I can understand where they're coming from. However, as I said, there's a cycle to this where Swarm counters field control. Field control generally counters Rush, and then Rush generally counters Swarm.
Yeah.
So even if you tried to turtle the entire time, if you came up against somebody who knew what they were dealing with Swarm, almost as much as you did with field control, they would still take a tower and you'd lose.
Mm-hmm.
It would happen to me all the time.
So they've ruined the game for you, Scott, single-handedly.
It sounds like it's not that they've ruined the game yet. It sounds like they're gonna say, "Hey, we like people to put money in this game, so we're gonna ruin it little by little."
We're gonna do this. They did say that they're gonna be doing balance patches every month moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry,
Also,
Scott. Stardew Valley will never hurt you.
Yeah, exactly. Stardew Valley will always be there for you as soon as it stops crashing. On the Clash Royale website, there's just it's a very basic website. At the bottom, there are frequently asked questions, and it's like, "What is Clash Royale? Was Clash Royale created by the same team as Clash of Clans?" And then it's just, "Is this Clash of Clans too?" And I just really like that question. And the response is like, "Don't worry, we're gonna keep development of Clash of Clans. This is not replacing it. Like, we're not gonna take your crack away from you. It's okay."
I mean, other than that, it's still good,
Yeah.
but it was always gross.
Yeah.
It's sad that it was gross, but it was still a good game.
Yeah.
But like with this, it's like, I think we can get a little grosser, so let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess commit to the bit. If you're gonna go for it, go for it.
Right, and then Tony said, "Hey, if I get to Arena 7, I might be dropping $10. That's a celebration." I'm like,
As
"Stop,
a
please."
celebration.
Like, dude, I don't think you understand.
Listen to yourself. Do you know what you've become? Yeah, well, I just don't even know why you bothered, but here we are. Anything else you've been playing,
game's
Scott?
still fun.
Game's still fun. But like, it doesn't sound like it's worth it.
I mean, if you don't pay.
For now. Like, when it becomes irreparable.
No, then I quit.
Yeah, then
That's how that worked.
Okay. Then I break the chain.
Hey,
Yeah.
I got an emergency. I'll be back in maybe like 30 minutes or so. So
Okay.
But yeah, no,
I'll keep
that's.
on recording, but like I'll just mute everything over here.
I mean, I got another minute for 45 minutes, but I mean, that's it.
Yeah. You do you, Nalbishin. Anything else you've been playing, Scott?
Nope.
That's it.
That's it.
Broken on the inside, broken on the outside. Trevor, what about you?
Played some Fire Emblem Fates Birthright.
Okay.
It was more Fire Emblem,
Yeah.
so that was fun. And I'd been looking for a tactical turn-based game since I don't have a rig powerful enough to play XCOM 2.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody does. It's not possible right now.
Game broke game.
Yeah. So I threw that in, and I wrote some stuff about this on my site earlier this week. But basically, like, my takeaway was I enjoyed the gameplay just as much as I did with the last Fire Emblem game,
Mm-hmm.
but I hated the fact that, like, they basically made three paths you could take in one game and then sold it as 3 different games.
Mm-hmm.
And I just have no, and I understand that they go like in wildly different directions, but I was like, yeah, that's a little too cannibalistic for my taste. So I put in my time on that, and it was fine. I had zero investment in the story, so I was just kind of skipping through it. But the combat was it was Fire Emblem.
Did you finish it?
No, I got to like I'm at chapter 24-ish. I know I'm nearing the end.
Okay.
But I don't know I don't know when I'll be going back to it, if I'll go back to it.
Yeah, I guess like I'm on like the complete opposite end of the spectrum because like I just adore everything about the characters in the world and all that. To be fair, very much my niche. And I was in the same boat with the previous Fire Emblem. I get like where you're coming from with the different paths. Like my whole thing is if they're different enough, like I don't feel too bad about it. Especially since if you get one, you can get the other for $20.
Yeah.
And if it's a full featured campaign, then like it's not like it's not worth it. But yeah, I'm chapter 18. I think I haven't touched it in a couple of weeks just because I've had other stuff to do. But
Are you playing Birthright specifically, or are you doing?
yeah, Birthright is the first one I'm doing. I have both already, so
Yeah, and then the third one came out last week, I think.
yeah, March 10th, I think it was.
Yep.
So here's the deal, Alex. What you finish what you need to get done
Yeah.
before Stardew Valley multiplayer comes out.
Yeah. I'm trying to narrow it all down. I mean, Stardew Valley currently is Windows only. So I don't even have a computer that can run it because my computer doesn't have Windows on it anymore. So like it's not even an option. Like I don't have to worry about it. But I'm sure it will come to Mac at some point. And
Yeah, it will.
That's the day everything comes tumbling down. So.
And then we never saw Alex again.
Yeah, and then he just died. He stopped writing. He stopped talking. He stopped tweeting. He just disappeared into Stardew Valley.
Yep.
Continue, Trevor. I'm sorry.
So after that, when XCOM got released onto Vita this week, I went ahead and picked that up. Yeah, the little stealth release onto the Vita. Picked that up, so I've been putting a lot of time into that, and that's definitely scratching that itch better than Fire Emblem was, even though there's even less of a story in that game.
Yeah.
The combat and the tactics of it is much more of an enjoyable experience for me. I enjoy that base building better than I did the Fire Emblem base building, which I didn't even realize like was a thing until I was like 10 chapters in, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I accidentally hit select and was like, oh, I can add new buildings to this place. I wondered when I was going to be able to do that. Apparently, it was the whole time.
Yeah. Is
I was
that a good version of that game?
The Xbox or the XCOM.
Yeah.
It's just like the PS3 version was. Loading times are a little bit longer. But other than that, it runs fine for the most part. I haven't run into super choppy. There's a little bit of frame rate dip when there's a lot of things going on.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a PS3 game running on a Vita, so that was kind of to be expected.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I've been enjoying that. And then today, before coming on here, I sat down with Undertale for a little bit because I want to get through that game. I started playing it a few months ago after hearing you guys sing its praises a lot at your end of the year stuff, and I knew enough about the game to know that I wanted to try a pacifist run, and then just because I'm ingrained to do so, I accidentally was button mashing enter and killed something and was like, no, crap, and closed out, tried to close out, and then before it would pull an Undertale will remember that kind of.
No, it already has. However, it's not.
I learned that. I didn't actually end up coming back to it until today, and when I came back to it today, I was like, all right, screw it, I'll just hit reset, and I got through to the first little boss fight there, and was like, okay, I was thinking
you didn't need to hit the reset because it doesn't work quite like that. It remembers what you do.
Yeah.
However, your resets don't affect your progress on those things.
That's okay. That's fine. I hadn't gotten far enough in anyway.
Yeah.
I hadn't even gotten to the end of the ruins section. So I was like, I'm not far into it. I'll just replay it. I was less than an hour into the game. So I sat down with it, played about an hour, got to the end of the ruins section, fought that first boss, was like, oh crap. like I accidentally equipped the toy knife or something and killed her. And I was like, oh no, damn it, and it like closed out again, and then came back to it.
Yeah.
And then it was I got past that with the no kill, and the flower thing was like, I know what you did, and I was like, ah, damn it.
It's not gonna affect the. It's not gonna affect.
Yeah, you can still do a
I know it.
pacifist round.
Yeah, that's I revisited that, and I'm doing stuff with the skeleton guys now. But yeah, I was like, maybe I'll just say screw it and just start murdering things left and right, and then I'll do a pacifist run later.
Yeah.
Nope, too late.
It's too late.
Yeah.
Too late.
I feel like I mean, you can play through that game like neutral the first time. Like I think it's totally fine.
Yeah.
It's how most people will play it or will have played it. And you'll still have a good time. And the thing is, it's a very hidden kind of trend, like change internally in you, the player, of where by the time you finish the neutral playthrough, you want to go back and not kill anyone and see what happens, and you didn't even know like it had gotten its hooks into you that deep already.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it is for most people that I've talked to about it. But you know, play it like how you want to play it. It's a slow burn. Like it's gonna take a while before you're like, I think I get it. There are definitely things like I think the writing is phenomenal, kind of all the way through. But if it feels like, hey, like maybe this isn't doing it for me quite yet, if it still feels like that, there might be stuff ahead that'll change your mind. Like I don't know where you're at with it.
I'm very like an hour and a half in, and it was just like I wanted to play it more back when I started it a couple months ago, but then my life kind of got thrown upside down, so I had to kind of throw that on the back burner and wait until I was like in a place where I could get set up and sit down and play it again. So so yeah, maybe I'll keep working through that this week.
Yeah, it's definitely a feel good game, and I'd like to see you write something about it at the end of it, because I feel like you'll have a lot to say.
Well, I mean, like for the pacifist run, it's definitely a feel-good game.
Yeah, I mean, like you can feel terrible and play that game or whatever, or feel nothing more.
Yeah.
But
I'll just start doing genocide now.
It's definitely not. It's too late for that. It's too late for that.
You're already broken. You didn't kill everything in the ruins, so
Yeah. No, but I'll start over.
I'll start over.
I'll start over just to murder everything.
Yeah, those poor little froggets, man. Gotta kill them.
Fuck those guys.
Hey, man. There's a fourth one in that room. I bet you didn't find it.
I did not know.
Yeah, but I don't know. I keep playing. Like,
Yeah.
It was for me the moment where I realized like I love this game. Like I love this game. I don't just really enjoy it. Was when I got to the Undine fight.
Oh, I got that card on Steam today.
Yeah. So when you get there, maybe see where you're at.
All right.
Check yourself before you really wreck yourself. I don't know. Something like that.
Yeah, so that's what I've been playing recently. I picked up Salt and Sanctuary and was like, yep, still not a Souls game kind of person, so put that back down.
I will say I was talking to our friend Allie on Twitter, Allie Mushka. She downloaded the Japanese version of Dark Souls 3 because it went live this week. So she made a Japanese account and bought that, and has been playing Dark Souls 3. I think she's already been uploading videos. I haven't seen them yet.
I believe so, yeah. I believe she's been throwing her boss battles up there.
Yeah, I love the commitment to the Souls. She's like the hardest core Souls person I've ever met in my entire life. So
yeah,
she already said she'll come on to talk about Dark Souls 3 when it comes out stateside. So I look forward to that. I'm starting to get excited for that game because I was like, man, I'm getting that itch, and like I haven't played Salt and Sanctuary yet. I think I might just hold off and play Dark Souls 3 at this point.
Yeah, well, everybody's playing that, and I'm waiting for Uncharted 4. I'll maybe go back to some Fallout.
Yeah, I mean, I
or start up some Stardew.
Yeah, just dive down that dark rabbit hole.
Good lord.
It's not that dark it's not that dark in terms of Spelunky. I want to say it's darker dark in terms of Persona 4. When you go down there.
Yeah. Oh no, like I said, I've been a Harvest Moon fan since Super Nintendo. The PlayStation
Yeah.
Harvest Moon Back to Nature is like my epitome of the franchise, and I've poured countless hundreds of hours into that game, which is like, it sounds like a very bare bones version of what Stardew Valley is. So, yeah, I'm basically gonna have to admit I have a problem. I imagine start going to some meetings if I start playing that game.
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm at. So you know.
I see. You see, I got a couple friends. We can help you out. You see, we all have a copy of the game, and we can play together when multiplayer comes out.
You know how many people will be able to play at once in multiplayer, Scott?
I heard 4, but this is just me hearing things, and not.
I'm curious how that
It's
works.
just you being insane.
Like, what if I'm in winter and you're in
No.
spring?
This is.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's going to work something closer to an Animal Crossing, where it's I'm intruding upon your place.
I invited you into my town. I think it would be what would happen.
Well,
You're
I
not
mean,
intruding.
like it's me. I'm an intruder. That's what I mean.
I have come to intrude. Yeah, that
so-
sounds cool.
So, that, or it's you'll just have, I don't know, a couple of people living in that house.
Okay. Yeah.
Mm.
Maybe.
I don't know.
it's like-
I have no idea.
Maybe it's like server side, like it just progresses.
No.
Yeah, that wouldn't happen because
No.
the poor
Yeah.
one man.
It's because
that's making
sleeping in the time.
Yeah.
It wouldn't work out that way.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there will be different rules. Break all the rules. We're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we have some news to talk about. Nabishan added some things quickly, and then hopefully Nabishan will be back. We'll round out news, take a peek in the mail sack, and Netflix and chill our way out of here. So we will be back in just a little bit. Choo choo choo. Now you just keep recording, Trevor.
Yeah.
Just leave it. I'm gonna go get a drink. I'll be right back.
Cool.
Yep. I'm doing the same thing.
Woo! Do you drink, Trevor?
On occasion.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I've never seen you with a beer in your hand. I don't think.
I'm not a beer drinker as much as liquor, but occasionally do. Liqueur. Yeah, occasionally do. We've got some local brews that I enjoy, or like I found out very late I was a dark beer drinker because for the longest time, I just didn't drink. I would have like Bud Light or Coors Light or something, and be like, oh, this tastes like shit.
Yep.
And then somebody like bought me an Irish car bomb at one point. I was like, oh, turns out I like Guinness.
Yeah. Good
But
old
no,
stout, man.
my drink of choice is rum and Coke, and I always tell people it's because it reminds me of my childhood. Because for that reaction, because when I was growing up, my dad would, after like a long day at work, he would take me like running errands with him, and we'd go up to a grocery store, and he'd run inside and grab whatever he needed, and he'd leave his green thermos next to me in the car, and I'd take a sip of it, thinking it was like Coke or Pepsi or something, and I was like, this tastes a little funny, and it wasn't until like later that I connected the dots that it was just that he'd poured a few shots of rum in there to take some of the edge off of his week. So yeah, I was when I finally started drinking, and like at 22 or 23, I was like, I will drink rum and Coke.
Yep. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
For nostalgia.
I like a good rum and Coke myself. It's the first alcoholic drink I had.
Yeah, Kind of Funny Live was the first time I ever had an old fashioned, and it was because I knew that I was going to be on the Gamescast a couple days later. And I was like, oh, if Colin's gonna pour me on an old fashioned, I want to make sure I don't like gag or spit it up or something like that. And then I ended up having like 6 that night.
I had
So
3, so yeah.
Yeah.
So
we probably saw each other with drinks. We just don't remember that night.
yeah. I was just curious. I was cracking into a beer. I'm drinking the Gingerland UFO. I'm pretty excited because Harpoon, which is the brewery that makes UFO, and it's like a sub brand of Harpoon, are based in Boston. The first time I ever had Harpoon or any of their beers was at their brewery at the IGN party in 2014, PAX East. So
cool. So you're gonna get some of that again soon?
Maybe. It'll definitely be easier to find more diverse of their like different flavors there in Boston.
Yeah.
I'll check that. We submitted for our press badges this week.
I'm
just waiting for the update.
I am back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Well, waiting for the update on.
Yeah, after getting turned away for badges for PAX South, I was like, yeah, I'm not even gonna bother putting in for them for PAX East. I'm just gonna go.
Speaking of which, I just did get the approval, so.
Yeah, congrats.
Whew. Let me text Tony and make sure he got that as well. IP.
Do you guys have to go through a separate approval?
No, but they sent each of us an email. I just want to make sure Tony got it as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if I got it, I'm sure he did too. But that's good. I mean, like, I'm sitting here, like, because I didn't want to book flights until I made sure that we got approved, because I didn't want to have to go through the horrible nightmare scenario of canceling a trip if I didn't get approved. Now we're all set, so got to book everything probably this coming week, and then we'll figure it out. I guess let's start up news. There isn't much to talk about. But Scott, you might want to look up the picture of this fucking fake NX controller, because I just want to know what your reaction is. Even though we know it's fake, I'd still like to see what you think. Give me 1 second. Alright, you guys ready?
I'm ready.
Sure. Yep.
News in gaming.
I mean, it would also be helpful if I had the Google Doc.
Oh, I'm sorry, Scott. Let me send you the Google Doc. Let's talk about some news.
And during the break, I went ahead and bought Stardew Valley. So thanks for that, Scott.
Well, this will be the last podcast Trevor ever appears on.
It was a good run.
So, not much. I had a few stories in here. Sony shut down Evolution Studios, which are, if you are unfamiliar, they made the MotorStorm games. They also made Drive Club, fan favorite Drive Club. There were layoffs earlier last March. Now it is officially being closed, which is sad.
Yeah.
There's like a comment here. Regular reviews take place throughout SCE Worldwide Studios, ensuring The resources that we have in such a competitive landscape can create and produce high quality, innovative, and commercially viable projects. As part of this process, we have reviewed and assessed all current projects and plans for the short and medium term and have decided to make some changes to the European studio structure. As a result, it's been decided that Evolution Studio will close. Actually sounds kind of rough, like not not competitive, not high quality, not innovative, and not commercially viable. That's basically what we're saying. But yeah, hopefully those developers find a good place to make more cool driving games because was it MotorStorm Apocalypse? Was that what it was? Armageddon? I don't remember the one where like you're driving through stuff where it was ending, like the world was ending around you, like destroyed cities and stuff. I remember that game being really cool.
Next time they make a Twisted Metal game.
Yes, because that still seems like a good idea. And speaking of bummer news, Fifth Cell laid off a bunch of staff members as Scribblenauts Fighting Words was canceled. So the next Scribblenauts game, aptly titled Fighting Words, I like that, was canceled by Warner Brothers, and a bunch of staff was laid off in association with that, which is pretty normal. Usually they're probably contract worker staff, but yeah, that's also unfortunate. The company will be moving forward, though, not to confuse it with Evolution Studios. Jobs at fifthcell.com. That's with the number 5, cell.com, if you are interested. But yeah, I like Scribblenauts. I like Fifth Cell. They're a fun studio. That Scribblenauts game that came out with the Wii U was fun, the Superheroes one. But yeah, it's the only one I ever played, unfortunately. But to get to the real meat of the news, the kind of stuff that everyone was talking about throughout the week was this rumored NX controller leak. Do you have the picture up, Scott? No, I'll take that as a no. I'll find a picture for you. Basically,
what was the question?
Do you have a picture of this fake NX controller?
Yeah.
Okay.
It looks fake though. Like,
yeah, that's what I was
like
thinking.
for me, it looks really fake.
Yeah, like people blew up about this. Like I guess there was some reasonable faith in this rumor. I mean, like everyone was reporting on it. Polygon was and everything.
That's because like for somebody who doesn't know stuff like controllers, like or people who like don't know controllers, how what they need to have to work, they're not gonna. Well, they're not gonna understand that this looks fake, even though it's a real thing.
I mean,
because the controller is definitely a real object.
To me, it looked like it could be a prototype, but by no means would be like the final controller. And like I was kind of surprised that so many people were even entertaining that idea. But yeah, I mean, it came from Polygon. Eventually, the person that faked it kind of came out and said, "Hey, this is a fake," as rumors are to go. Trevor, you had some thoughts on this. I saw you wrote something earlier this week about it.
Yeah, it was before it broke that it was or confirmed as fake. But I didn't think they were real at the time. But they did match more or less what that patent leak suggested. Yeah. And my thoughts were more like assuming it is true and assuming those are the future of the NX and they are going much more. They're continuing to be Nintendo in that they're staying innovative rather than becoming another Xbox or PlayStation system. And I also touch on there about that I think they, not since like the GameCube have they really identified Sony and Microsoft as their competition, because the Wii went its own route, the Wii U went its own route. I imagine the NX is going to continue going its own route. And I think with the Wii U in particular, they see smartphones and tablets as their competition, hence the gamepad. And so I think if that is kind of the future of this controller, and it is more of a mobile device that you can maybe mirror to a screen for a larger, more console experience. I think that's the market they're going after. They're not going after the PlayStation and Xbox market. They're going after a chunk of the iPhone and Android market. And I imagine that if they can, like a couple of the standouts from last year, I touch on are basically like Lara Croft Go and Fallout Shelter that won praise from the hardcore gamers, and they were created by Bethesda and by Square Enix Montreal.
Mm-hmm.
So if Nintendo puts that same kind of pedigree behind mobile games, I think they'll take a chunk out of the Clash Royales and the Candy Crushes, and kind of take their IP to that market, and capitalize on the fact that there are, millions and billions of phones out there, and then they might also have this handheld device that will give you the best experience, but it'll still play on those other things. If you don't like dealing with the fake, not really buttons of playing a Final Fantasy game on your iPhone, you'll have at least the analogs and maybe better haptic feedback on this NX rumored controller device.
Yeah. Like, I still, in my head, like, I still see whatever the NX ends up being, and God, it feels like we have an NX discussion, an NX rumor central every other week. That is kind of like, that is our thing to talk about, I guess. That's our VR. That's our hill to die on.
Because they're not talking about it.
Exactly.
They actively are basically squashing any kind of, or just ignoring any kind of rumors on it.
Yeah, in my head, I still see the NX as something that is ultimately the successor to the 3DS and not to the Wii U.
Yeah, and that kind of goes into my same rationale, that's where they're finding success, and at least steady, continued success.
Yeah.
As opposed to the Wii, which was a flash in the pan, got casual gamers on.
Mm-hmm.
If Nintendo goes to mobile, that's where the casual gamers are, and that's where they'll find them. Yeah. And so they'll get grandma to play, a Flappy Bird clone using Nintendo's assets, even though they were in the Flappy Bird game.
Yeah.
But it'll have Miyamoto's, signature or fingerprints on it somehow, and people that, like me, that have kind of grew up with Nintendo but have fallen by the wayside on Nintendo, would still have a way to play those games, even if they're not what I'm looking for in my other experiences.
Yeah. I don't know. It's weird. I mean, there was another rumor this week that Nintendo was shutting down Wii U production at the end of 2016, and then Nintendo was pretty quick to say that is not true. We are continuing producing of the Wii U into 2017.
But I don't imagine it'll go that much further. It seems like they're not interested in putting much more out onto it.
Yeah, I mean, like, they did announce like a handful of new Wii U games at that Direct earlier this month. Like we talked about, like the Paper Mario and stuff like that. That's all worrisome for a variety of other reasons. Are you guys hearing like a low crackling coming from my microphone?
I'm hearing it. I don't know where it's coming from, but yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, it's probably my mic. So I'm gonna stop recording, and then I'm gonna Scott, you can count me in.
All right.
Props
we're
to
doing claps.
Yeah, we're gonna do claps to bring me in. Props to Danny Juarez, who text messaged me to say, "I don't know if it's just me." But
I was just here worried it was me.
No. You wouldn't hear it yourself. Like, I can't hear it at all. So that's
You see, when stuff like that happens, I do not notice it on time at all.
Yeah, if Nobishin were here.
That crackling was there, and I was like, oh, all right.
Yeah, I'll try a couple of things. Let me see if this works.
I mean, I'm not getting it right now.
Just powered it down. Do you still hear it?
Nope.
We haven't heard it since you said that it was happening.
Let me just listen.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, I just listen. It was on that recording of the thing. He texted me back saying, "Jerk."
All right, so 17, 16, 15, 14.
Oh God. All right. All right. I listened back. Yeah, I should be fine now. I just had to turn my mixer off and then on again, which means I wouldn't have to stop recording in the future, which is good to know. Scott, can you count me in 3-1?
All right. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
Got
Are
it.
you good?
I'm good.
All right.
He also followed up text message saying, "You're good now." Yeah, I like it. It's weird to kind of see. We're in this weird. 2016 is such a weird year. We talked. I mean, like where we went with that discussion last week was kind of, as much as like listening back to it, like I was a little drunk. So I didn't want to like go on some like weird existential tirade about VR and how I believe in it. But I definitely like disagree with Nabishin. I wish he was here of saying like, I don't think this is going to be another Wii situation. Like I think it's only going to be that if developers let it be that, which I don't think they would because I think VR is way more exciting to develop for than motion controls were. Personally, that's an opinion though. And I can't really substantiate it. I think that's why there's no point like arguing about it. Trevor, I know you were telling me last week because like you wrote about last night. You were kind of like our backup for recording last week. I was not sure if Tom was going to be able to make it. It was your birthday. Happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you.
Belated birthday again. But yeah, you said you had some thoughts on VR. I figured since we got some time before Nobishin gets back, you could share some thoughts now if you wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, I with PSVR in particular, I wrote a lot about how I thought it was kind of tricky that they came out and announced the headset price and then came and said that wasn't going to be like you weren't going to be able to just get the headset in advance. You were going to have to, people already had jumped on that you needed the camera and the moves were going to be needed as an optional thing. And then they kind of doubled back and said, oh, yeah, well, what we're actually going to sell you is the full set, the $500 set. And so I kind of made the allusion to they had basically done the same thing that that Xbox did when the Xbox One did when it launched, with the exception of Microsoft didn't come out and say, hey, the Xbox One's going to cost you $400 and then sell you with the $500 Kinect bundle. So that was kind of acrobatic marketing techniques, which was, I mean, smart for them to do because the day the news broke, the only thing people were talking about, or the number one thing people were talking about, was the $400 price point and how it was undercutting everything else.
Yeah.
And I mean, even with all those extra "quote unquote" hidden costs, you've got it's easily the most affordable of the options.
Yeah.
But like I tried PSVR at PlayStation Experience and wasn't overwhelmed by it, wasn't wowed by it. But I definitely saw back then the potential of it outside of the gaming sphere, which is that's why I think it will probably go above and beyond the Wii. Because it like motion controls and waggle did have kind of some outside of games functionality in terms of, like, I remember reading articles about surgeons were using it to practice and hone their skills in med school and stuff with the Wii motes and stuff. But when you can throw in things like virtual tourism or attending live shows, I think that's where most of VR is going to make its money. But it's also going to be, I mean, in the short term, it is going to be kind of the cool novelty thing to do. I think, I immediately walked away from PSX thinking, like, I wonder how much it would cost me to start a business that was basically a virtual reality arcade, a VR arcade, and get 8 different setups of the PlayStation 4 and PSVR, set up shop somewhere and just let people come try it for like $15 an hour to get that experience, and then maybe sell them the units outside of that. Because that's the thing that VR is struggling with, is showing it off to people and selling people on it without them trying it themselves.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of the big pictures of my thoughts on VR and PSVR in particular. I think it's
Nobishin, by the way.
Welcome back, Novich. Yeah. So I think it's got much more potential outside of games. But like when it came out that it was going to be $400, I've already got the PlayStation camera. I went ahead and put down a pre-order this week as a placeholder until the headset only offerings come out next week, and then I'll probably I got in the same way that you're going to use your tax refund money. I'm gonna go ahead and throw some of my tax refund money towards picking up a PlayStation headset, if for nothing else but to cover it for Trevor Trove.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about it, see other people talk about it. Justin, who was here last week, was already saying like, I'm definitely gonna pick one up. You know, like maybe I can come back down for that weekend. We can talk about it. We can do some video stuff, and it's definitely interesting. I'm curious to see what covering that is gonna look like. But yeah, I thought I'd give you the opportunity to talk about it. This is like a company like Facebook steps in and buys Oculus, right? This is like because they see this as not a video game platform necessarily, but as something with far expanding potential. But we'll see.
I'm curious of Sony's support for like those outside apps that are not gaming for PlayStation VR. Like how far it will actually go. They're not the best at like apps in general as far as their systems are concerned.
Yeah,
the Xbox are. Yeah, but like it's not like the Xbox. Xbox have like almost like every app you can think of, but like even stuff you don't even need, like Reddit or something like that. But like like PlayStation is kind of lacking on that, so hopefully they'll get better with them.
Yeah, and like we were talking about like the virtual storefronts. Like I don't know if there's going to be something like that for PSVR, but hopefully there is.
I'm sure there will be. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Like I mean, it's exciting. Like at the very least, it's a peripheral that I'm. I don't. You probably missed when I was talking about it, Namish, and I just was following up on kind of what we talked about last week. It's a peripheral I'm more likely to believe in. Whereas, like, if I had gotten to see the Wii before it had come out, if I wasn't like fucking 13 when that thing came out, and like just super excited just about a new Nintendo console, like I feel like I would have gone in more cynically, especially if I had
just like at the same time. The only thing you really need there is like not 13.
Yeah, probably.
I don't believe that though. Like, no one could have known like
that would have gone the way it did.
Yeah, and like the potential was real, and Wii Sports is real. There's something to prove that, like right there out of the gate. So
right. My prediction was that they like use 100-foot robot golf as like a pack-in title to sell it in the same. Like I think that has the potential to be the Wii Sports for PlayStation VR, where like that's the fun, ludicrous title that everybody can understand. Like you can have your grandmother there and she'll get golf and maybe think it's funny that you're a giant robot, and that might be what gets other non-gamers to invest in the system as well.
Yeah,
they already have like something with what they're launching with, right?
Like, yeah, they're launching with the VR Worlds, which was like all the like a lot of the tech demos, like the Into the Deep, the London Heist stuff. Yeah, it's like 5 of their tech demos that they've been showing off for quite a while. But that's I don't see any of those having the same kind of universal pull as like bowling did for people or tennis did.
Yeah, it has to be something that's more than just like you do it once and like okay that was cool and you move on to the next thing. It has to be something like you want to come back to repeatedly. I would think.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I know that I kind of want to play Battlezone again. You know, that's the only PSVR game that I played, and I honestly really liked it. Like because I was playing on a controller, right? So it was still just a fucking video game to me.
Yeah.
But like sitting there and looking around and seeing the tank controls. Like apparently the current version of that game, you can look down and if you look at the DualShock 4, it's like rendered in game and they're tracking it
Oh.
with the camera. When I played it, that was not the case, which is a bummer because I would have been way into that. But yeah, I don't know. I want to get my hands on it. I want to have it in my home.
I'm definitely curious about like the long-term health ramifications of it, though. Like I remember growing up and people being like, "You can't sit so close to the TV," and you saying, "Screw that." And like I'm still fine, but I'm pretty sure it's messed me up in some ways. So what's it gonna be like when the TV is literally 3 inches from your face and all-encompassing?
Yeah.
And like just like I'm not gonna be able to play 12 hours of Fallout just doing that because I'm pretty sure I'd be blind in like a week.
All I know is that IBM is partnering up with Japanese companies to make Sword Art Online. That's a real thing. That's really actually happening. And I'm moving to Japan in the next 6 years. That's all I'm saying.
It's too early for that, goddammit.
It's never too early, Scott.
All right. Say that when Virtual Boy is out. Come on.
That's my other prediction is that more PSVR will have been sold by the end of the year than Virtual Boy sold in its entire run.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, it does.
770,000 Virtual Boys, and I think we'll easily sell over 1 million in October.
The idea was 100% unfeasible at the time Virtual Boy came out.
Not even in the realm of possibility.
No, not even close.
You think it breaks 1 million by the end of this year?
I think so.
Hype
I think
alone.
so too.
Hype alone will carry it through that. I mean,
Yeah.
PS4
I mean,
and Xbox One both did that, and
The problem is no matter how many people get behind it, it's going to end up the same, similar to how the Wii ended up anyway.
if people don't support it, yeah.
Well, it's not about if people support it. It's about what that support is.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll have like 6 months of like Oculus and Vive stuff, and people talking about that environment.
Think about it this way: do you want to play Zelda 1, Original Zelda VR headset?
I'd do it.
You do it, but I mean,
No, it'd be the
Would
same
that
thing as
be
like
a
that
VR
Minecraft
experience?
example that you brought up of like,
no, this is kind of.
yeah.
Once again, a bit of a thing about Minecraft. It is uncanny how much Minecraft is able to put you as a stand-in for the thing that you are controlling. I'm not even going to call it a person.
The thing.
It is uncanny how well that Minecraft, the game itself, puts
that.
you as a person doing all of these things.
Yeah.
So, that is one of Minecraft's unique abilities.
Mhm.
If people can capture that, great.
Mhm.
The problem is Minecraft is unique for being able to do that.
I mean, like, here's the thing, though. Like, you know,
Hopefully, soon enough. Hopefully, it won't be.
like Steve Gaynor brought up on the Kind of Funny Games cast, like, you know, getting something into VR, making a game for VR is not as simple as porting a game to VR. It's building it from the ground up for VR, and like,
Right. That's exactly what I'm saying.
we have to see if that happens. But like Nobjin was saying, Scott, like, you know, you have Oculus is coming out next week, which is crazy, and the Vive is coming out the week after that. And between now and then, you'll have a bunch of VR games that can be ported to PSVR.
Right. But here's the other thing.
Which is something, at least.
This is also going to be pretty much the first time that people have been making stuff for VR that's substantial.
Yeah.
This is the same problem that the Nintendo had. The Nintendo had support for, I want to say, the Wii had support for, I want to say,
say which
first
Nintendo are
year.
we talking about?
The Wii had its support for about its first year.
Yeah. It was a little bit longer
And
than
it right, and it was okay support.
that. Mhm.
It had potential to go somewhere.
It was boom
But
blocks.
Right, it was okay.
Never forget.
But that wasn't because the third-party companies weren't behind. That wasn't because the third-party companies weren't behind it that it was okay. That it was new people. It's that they weren't good at it.
But yeah, they weren't making.
So they
it
stopped
significant.
trying. Right,
Yeah,
so they stopped
exactly.
trying.
They didn't know how to use the tech.
Yeah.
We didn't know how to use the tech, and we're going to be in the same position with this one.
I mean, like,
does it have to go the same way? No.
The reason I disagree with you, Scott, is because when the Wii came out in 2006, and like the 2006 to 2008 period where people were actually making games for that console, had no idea what the fuck they were doing. That was still before like the renaissance of independent developers that we had in like 2010, and now we've got like all these little teams or one-man teams making games, and like they're utilizing game consoles in ways that we've never seen before. Like look at Severed on the Vita, right? Made for Drinkbox. Like those guys are doing something on the Vita that no one else has done, and like that team could make something for Oculus and port it to PSVR, and Sony would help them do that because like the big indie games are, or like the big games coming out this year are stuff like Below and No Man's Sky. So I think like it is dispersed out so much that VR has a chance where the Wii waggle controls didn't really, because anyone and everyone is making games now.
Yeah, and I stand by my prediction, which Greg Miller stole from me, that No Man's Sky will be a PlayStation VR game, and that I think will kind of be your Minecraft for in VR. Like that'll since Minecraft seems to be, I don't see them doing a VR game. They might, but since they seem kind of connected to HoloLens and augmented reality, I think No Man's Sky, everything they've shown suggests that would be ideal in that space. And I can't imagine why Sony would have given it so much attention and so much power if it weren't something they were that invested in.
Yeah, but it's too early to say. No, one way or the other, it's too early.
But about the Minecraft thing, it's funny that you bring it up as that how it just so happens to be invested. It's basically how that happened was sort of they came out with those prototype Oculuses, right? And they sold them.
Yeah.
And so people could just start deving and doing whatever. And like they started doing that. They started doing the deving, and then one person said, "Hey, let's just make this thing so it could maybe kind of run with almost any game you put it as." And one of the first games that came out and connected to it was Minecraft. And when they ran through a comparison to all the games that this worked well with and what didn't with, Minecraft hit the top of the list.
It's interesting. It's weird that also Minecraft, instead of going the VR route, is now going the AR route. But that's a conversation for a whole other day.
So what do you think, Tony?
Tony, are you ready to start recording? He probably just left. He's here now, but then he was like, "Nah, I'm gonna go get a sandwich. They're talking about VR. Who cares?"
I came in like
Hey, boys.
Tony, are you ready to start recording?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, on 1, 3, 2, 1.
I was waiting for Juan.
Juan.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Tony.
Hey, Tony.
What happened?
Let's not get into that.
Okay, are you okay?
He came back from the dead.
I'm fine. I'd like to inform you that I did have a chance to check my email.
Yeah.
I don't know if you were expecting me to find things there. I found some Chinese voicemails.
Okay, that's good. You should have gotten an approval of some form.
Let's see. It's just Alex sending me pictures of himself naked. Like, this is not unusual.
Navashin, you weren't here when that happened.
I was there.
You should have gotten your PAX press badge approval.
Okay, give me a second.
That's why I asked.
Yeah. I have to do things. Hold on.
Hold on, let me touch my butt real quick. No,
That's actually the password to my email account.
Hold on.
All you have to do is touch the touch sensor on my computer and then touch my butt, and it puts in a fingerprint for you.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a
Butt print.
Butt print.
Yeah.
Nice.
Hold on. Now that I've been derailed.
Yeah.
How's it going?
That's good.
Good.
Um.
You missed some Clash Royale talk earlier.
Yeah.
that I know Scott really wanted to have you in on.
I hear you were gonna celebrate by spending $10.
Yeah, when I hit 2,000.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't do it, Tony.
Shut up, Scott.
You know the
Do
patch they
it.
came out with that kind of
Do
broke your
it.
build. After searching around for how breaking into how the game works instead of just playing whatever cards I had
Doing
and
some hot
stealing other
Googling.
people's
Mhm.
build, what they did is specifically a balance change in order to tempt people to put more money into the game.
Okay.
That was what the balance change was centered around.
I do not see, so maybe later.
Okay.
It's your hard-earned money, Tony. You got it from all that pussy mastering.
Oh yeah,
Use it as you see fit.
that's
As
right.
the resident irrational passions master of.
Master of some stuff. Yeah. So hi guys.
So hi. Let's. You guys want to take a peek into the mail sack?
Oh wow, I'm here kind of late, huh?
Yeah. Well, it is like 3 hours later.
Fair enough.
By the way.
So what you're saying is we're gonna go back to games and talk about Salt and Sanctuary.
Nope.
Well, I mean, we did skip Nabishin and your games, so
we
we
didn't
could
skip
have
options game.
Yeah, I'd play Pokemon Yellow.
That's true. That's true.
No,
I just
Tony-
blanked that
Tony,
out.
Tony's late. You know.
And I talked for about 10 seconds about Salt and Sanctuary.
All right, I platinumed
step.
that game. This
Yeah, I
week.
know.
All
This
right, we're
this
set.
podcast was B talking for 45 minutes.
Congratulations, Tony. Is
Hey.
that your second ever platinum?
Well
Yeah.
done.
Let's.
Will Dark Souls 3 be your third platinum?
Probably.
I'm very much looking forward. We talked a little bit about Dark Souls 3 while you were gone as well, Nobshin. Just admiring Allie's commitment to the Souls series in general.
No doubt.
Yeah, like I'm excited.
Did she
for...
get a review copy or did she get like a
She
Japanese copy?
made a Japanese account
Oh, okay.
and bought it on the Japanese PSN. She already said she'll come on when it comes out in the US
Very
to
cool.
talk about it. So. We got a couple emails. One was just a picture that I put in the Google Doc. It's mostly for Nabishin, Scott, and myself. But it was from Jake Nichols, who, congrats to him. He's a features writer for thecoalition.com now. So congrats, Jake.
The Gears of War company?
No, different coalition. It's a
Okay.
website about video games.
Oh, I'm just asking questions.
No, that's valid. I totally blanked on that. But yeah, he sent the subject line was update on my Kingdom Hearts situation, and the picture is just like the 1.5 HD remix, like sitting on what looks like to be a pile of garbage with a heart next to it. I know it's not a pile of garbage. It's probably just like a shopping bag or something. But good luck, Jake. Where you're going, there's only darkness. So
You'll get a 1.98 version for PS4 soon.
We're getting a 2.8, so. We also got an email from Harold Price, our good friend, Harold.
Hey, Harold.
He says, "Hey, iPeeps. My question this week is about retro games. I know the NES was out before you all were born.
Not
You were
me.
all born. Not Nobishin and Trevor, right?
Well, it came
How
out the
old are
year
you,
I was
Trevor?
born. 30, just turned 31. So
You're
yeah,
older
came-
than me, bro. I'm 30.
Old man
He's-
Trevor.
He said, "Old man Trevor. I know the NES came out before you were all born. Not true. And the Genesis, Game Boy, and SNES predate everyone except Nobishin. Do you have any favorite games from these systems? And are there any games from these systems that you haven't tried but are curious about?" That's it. Harold, the old guy. Scott has a great affinity for the NES, the original Nintendo Entertainment System.
Yeah, I do.
I remember when on our senior trip after we graduated high school, we went to your house in Chickatee and just you were playing Final Fantasy. Was it 1? Was Final Fantasy 1 on the NES?
Yup.
Like a goddamn animal. Well, Tony and I were playing fucking Might and Magic Clash of Heroes like adults.
Oh my god.
I wouldn't call what you guys were doing adult.
We
But
were
okay.
standing in front of a TV pointing out stuff on the field like goddamn battle tacticians. What do you want?
Yeah,
from
man,
us?
that game's still great.
That game is so good. That should have been our game of the year that year. We made mistakes.
I know. It's all right.
I mean Mario 3 is my favorite NES game. You know, I love Super Mario Bros. 3. I've played plenty of Game Boy and NES and Genesis games. I had a Genesis and an NES growing up. My brother had a Game Boy. I got a Game Boy Color at some point. And obviously the Super Nintendo is probably one of my favorite. It's probably my second favorite console to the PS2. So, I don't know. Do you have any favorite games from these systems? Any games of these systems that you haven't tried but are curious about? It's also a good question. Trevor, do you have any?
So yeah, one of my like regular features on Trevor Trove is kind of going through console by console of like my favorite games. So like standouts from the NES, Dragon Warrior 4, Dragon Warrior 4 from the Dragon Quest series was my introduction to that series. So that jumps out. ActRaiser is one of my favorite Super Nintendo games. Alongside Harvest Moon, which we touched on earlier during Stardew. Secret of Evermore was a great, hidden or not often talked about Super Nintendo game.
I've had so many people tell me I need to play Secret of Evermore.
Games that like Link to the Past is my favorite of the Zelda games from the Super Nintendo. It's my favorite Zelda game, period. But it was on Super Nintendo. But games that like I never got around to playing would be like Super Metroid or the Metroid games. I just overlooked those. So
Super Metroid holds up. You should play the game.
Yeah, and I almost revisited it last year when I played through Symphony of the Night. Yeah, those are the kind of the most notable ones that I missed and just never went back to.
Anyone else played Donkey Kong on the Game Boy?
Game Boy.
I'm sure I did. I have very little memories of it though.
That game's awesome.
Game Boy, Donkey Kong on the NES I did, but not the Game Boy. No.
The Game Boy version is kind of like this adventure game or adventure mode part of it. That's really good. Brant Ranch is the only other person I've ever talked to about that. So,
I mean, my favorite games of all time are Final Fantasy 6 and 4, which were 3 and 2 on Super Nintendo. That's what got like cemented me as a gamer at a young age.
Got your blood pumping.
Yep.
Do you hate 7, or are you indifferent on 7?
I'm 7. Seven's like my. If I were ranking all the Final Fantasies, 7 is like 4th on the list. It goes 6, 4, 9, 7.
Okay.
I really liked the materia system, and I loved kind of the step up in graphics. The story's convoluted as all hell, but I mean, like it's like 8. I hate 8 is one of my least favorites of the series, alongside like all of the 13 games. So yeah, 7 being like number 4 might be damning it with faint praise compared to like the other games on the list for me, but
Okay.
But yeah, it's in the middle. It holds a special place in my heart because it was like the first PlayStation game I ever played, well before I even had a PlayStation. I would play it at like my friend's house or at like my youth pastor's house, back in the day.
Way back when.
Way back when I was a youngster. But yeah, 6 and 4, I've purchased those on like almost every re-release they've ever had, except for like the iPhone and Steam ones.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would much rather see 6 remade with like today's tech than 7, but we're gonna get the 7 remake. So
Whether you want it or not.
whether I want it or not, a lot of people do want it, and good for them. I'll play it.
A lot of people don't want it anymore. Also.
Yeah.
Why did no one ever talk about Final Fantasy V?
Well, I mean, it didn't. It only came out here stateside initially with the Final Fantasy
Anthology.
Yeah, that was 5 and 6.
No one talks about 3 either, but
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, like that's a Super Nintendo game or
Yeah.
Super Famicom or whatever.
it was Super Famicom, but yeah, since it didn't come stateside until like really late in the PlayStation era, it just kind of got overlooked. Like I played it, I enjoy it, I like the job system of it, but it just because of when it came out here, it just didn't
It didn't have an
make
impact.
it didn't have the splash.
Yeah.
Like it came out here, it came out stateside after 7, 8, and 9, so or around then.
Right.
So everybody had kind of moved on to polygons, and only kind of the diehard of the diehards went and played
Yeah.
it.
I just think this is interesting. Like
Yeah.
Japan just brought it over like 4 and 6 because that was 1 and 3. I mean 2 and 3 in America, and it did skip 5. I'm like, what's wrong with Final Fantasy 5? I'm just a curious question.
Yeah, I think it just didn't have the impact, like the emotional impact of something like 6, and then like the cultural impact of something like 7. Right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, both my brothers have played and finished it. They both liked it, but they have nothing else to say about it, really.
Yeah, it falls in the middle of my list. Like there aren't things I hate about it, but there aren't things I love about it either, or not enough. So just kind of, it's
Hey,
there.
it's funny 'cause, like,
It's a competent game.
I played enough Final Fantasy games to have a list too,
Yeah.
and that's higher than 4 on my list.
So,
Oh,
there you go.
Yeah.
Scott, do you have any standout NES, Game Boy games, etc.?
Did he include Game Boy too?
Yeah, he said Game Boy, SNES predate everyone except Nobishin. Do you have any favorite games from these systems? And are there any games from these systems that you haven't tried but are curious about?
No games that I haven't tried that I'm curious about. Way too far down the line for that.
Sick bird! Nah, there's probably a few for me.
That and one of our friends had a bunch of these games, and he let us borrow them one time, like way later after that console
Scott's friend,
cycle.
not my friend.
Yeah, my friend. My friend.
Yeah.
So yeah, we tried a bunch of them. Like, what is it called? QWERTY? Cube? I don't know anymore.
RT?
Yes.
QWERTY?
Qbert? Maybe it's Qbert.
Qbert, yeah.
It's Qbert.
Okay, so I tried that. That game's not good.
It's an arcade game. Like,
I know.
it
So
was
there's,
like,
there's a bunch of games like that I've tried.
yeah. It was
Only
in
a
that era
handful.
where they were porting arcade games to NES
Yeah.
and stuff, and like, it wasn't working.
So from that, still it's gonna be Zelda's gotta be my favorite one for that.
Mhm.
Even though there wasn't a save system for that original.
Yeah, I mean, it did save.
Battery, right?
Yeah, that one had battery. That was one of the few ones that did. It did save, like, it would save your progress, but there was no, like, save button. It would just save every time you, like, entered or left a cave, I think.
I don't think ours worked then.
Yeah, the battery probably died.
Yeah, because we had to restart every time.
Yep, that's why. Harold also said that Donkey Kong 94 is one of his all-time favorites. That's a really good game. I remember loving that on Game Boy.
From the Game Boy, no.
Not even Link's Awakening?
I played the later version of that.
Yeah. Oh, DX, the Game Boy Color one. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like the other Game Boy standouts for me are the 1, 2, and 3 on Dragon Warrior games, like the Pokemon games. I definitely like fell down that rabbit hole back then. Play with my sister. We'd each get copies of the game, and like I'd play through Red, she'd play through Blue, and I'd immediately surpass her and start kicking her ass anytime we battle, and then I'd just get all the Pokemon from her. But I would
And now she hates video games. Good job.
and now yeah. But yeah, like I would I wrote about this when I wrote about like my Game Boy games, that I would, like, anytime we would start a new set of Pokemon games for the first few generations, I would play through both of them far enough to get both of us set up with all the starters, and then like would give her copy of the game, and we'd start playing along.
I like that. Tony, I'm curious if you have any specific standouts for this question.
If they involve ducks
Oh yes,
Specifically
your
Duck
history
Hunt.
with Duck Hunt.
and Darkwing Duck.
DuckTales.
No, never DuckTales, but Darkwing Duck.
That was on the SNES, right?
That was the Nintendo.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that was just the regular.
I remember my brother was
I had Duck
obsessed
Hunt
with
too.
It was basically a Mega Man game.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Any Game Boy stands out? I don't know if you ever had a Game Boy. So.
I did. I had a Game Boy Pocket.
Mm-hmm.
And I played Pokemon, all of them. So
Pokemon, all of them. Yes, I'm familiar.
yes.
Crystal is the dope game. I forgot about Conqueror's Pocket Tales. Like there were two different versions of that game. One for the Game Boy, one for the Game Boy Color, and they were both on the same cart.
Yeah, I really liked playing Clash Royale on my Game Boy.
All right. Nobshin, round us out. Any call-outs you want to send out there?
It was weird when I was a kid and like had my systems like because like I usually just had the system just literally just one game and I just played it over and over again just because I liked it that much.
I was the
Like,
same
for-
way. So
Like for Game Boy, all I ever really had was just Tetris and Pokemon. That's like the only games I had for that system at all.
Yep, same
That's why I
story.
that's all you needed, motherfucker.
We had the games that I had, like for reference, for the NES, were Mario, Duck Hunt, and Zelda.
And Karate Kid, right?
Oh yeah, that's right. There was the Karate Kid and the Final Fantasy games were later down the line. We went to some boardwalk somewhere, and they had a shop
Yeah.
where we originally thought it was just a place to get something to eat, and it was some place
But
to
they had
get
this
it. But on
creepy
the
basement
other,
full of
you know,
NES
on the
games.
other side, it was just there was stacks upon stacks of NES games. So we got those two
Cool.
because they were like $1 each.
Yeah.
Um,
Sorry. Continue, Nobshin.
Yeah, like around this era was I wasn't really playing video games all that much. I mean, I was, but like the way the way I used to play video games all the time. Now that's why I used to spend my time just watching like cartoons and no reruns and Looney Tunes. That's how I got like my that's why I'm so like memorizing like phrases and stuff like that is because like I was obsessed with like watching like Tom and Jerry and like old cartoons so much over and over again because I obsessed over that. But like for like my older systems like for Genesis, all I had was just the Sonic, all the Sonic games because I like those so much. And like NES was more varied out because that was my brother's system. No, actually the Genesis was my brother's system, but he didn't like it all that much. And like we had an SNES, and the SNES was actually mine, which all I played was like Mario World and like Mario Kart. But like I was jealous of my brother because he had the Sonic games on his Genesis, so it's like it was like a weird thing.
Yeah.
Well, how'd that work out for him?
It was kind of that we trade systems, but not really. But it never really amounted to anything because like he always got like all the games on Super Nintendo. So like we had like Earthworm Jim and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I love Earthworm Jim. And like as for NES, like it was weird with that system too because like we lived by a neighbor of a friend of my dad's when he was still in the military, and like they pretty much got like they had like almost every NES game because like they had the money to spend for it and their kids really wanted it. So like we used to go over and just play all their games. So like of course I played all the Mario games and like wherever else they like just let us play. It was good. It was cool.
Yeah.
And like I play so many games now on that system that like I don't remember it. Like I don't remember most of them. Like there's one game with like some like I can't even describe it, but like it would be something like if I seen it or if I heard it, I would know it instantly. Like, oh, this to take me back. I remember this game, but like I can't even recall what it even is.
Yeah.
It's like one of those type of things. But like like eventually I got into emulation and like that's how I like picked up on some stuff that I missed out on those systems at the time. But yeah. Games that I didn't play though, like I bought Super Metroid, never played it.
It's so good.
Same with Kid Icarus, never played that.
That's a waste of your time anyway. So.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I never played any of the 2D Zelda games like ever, actually.
Ever? Like any of them?
No, like the only one I played close to was like A Link Between Worlds. But I never played like the original Zelda or
You need to play A Link to the
or
Past.
Link to the Past. Yeah, I never played those.
Did you like A Link Between Worlds?
Yeah, I've never beat it though. I've never beat the other games except Ocarina and Twilight Princess apparently.
Yeah.
Did you beat
Yeah,
Twilight Princess?
And what?
On the Wii version, I
Did you
didn't
beat
play
Skyward
Wii version.
Sword?
I
No,
was
that's
right at the end. I was right at the end. I never beat it.
Yeah, I lent it to you and everything. Yeah,
How?
valid.
Oh, you don't have it.
Let's
do you?
waste your time anyway.
Hold on.
Yeah,
End of that game, like that fight is great.
that fight is great. Yeah,
For what?
the Skyward Sword.
Oh yeah, you told me.
It's good. It's a good fight. It's a great. It's very climactic. Both the final 2 boss fights are really good.
Yeah, I skipped both of those.
Eh,
I have them. I have them both still in their wrapping for the Wii, and I just never opened or played either of them because I'd moved on.
I feel like people should play Skyward Sword, but like I feel like that's just like I feel the same way about people should work in the service industry for a year of their life. Like you should be a waiter or a busboy or something for a year of your life as well. We got a Twitter question from Silver PR. He could not send a voicemail in this week, unfortunately. He said, "What original character's superpower in a video game would you love to have?" So Cole McGrath's lightning powers, like
Yeah, that's my
ship
go-to.
it. They're so cool.
But you
Like
can't
he's
take
got
a
the coolest superpowers. But I can
Yeah,
never
no,
get the power.
I'm pretty sure every time somebody asks that, that's our go-to.
Yeah. What were you saying? An option?
But you can't take a bath.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
There you go. I mean, you can, but you'll die. It's cool.
Well, I mean, it's just not a bath with water.
Yeah. A bath of acid.
I mean, does it also mean you can never stand in the rain?
Well, I
Do
mean,
you,
could.
you become the Wicked Witch?
Yeah, but you kill
See,
everyone
there's the
else.
thing about that. He doesn't. There is rain.
Yeah.
He doesn't
It
die.
happens.
And he doesn't die. And he does get wet and he doesn't die. It's just when he's in the ocean.
I also really like the smoke powers from
Second son.
Second Son.
Well, I mean, like, now that Second Son's out, wouldn't it just be his mimic power? Because then you could, like, mimic the coal power, and then you'd have that.
Well, here's the
one, too.
deal. Like, in this hypothetical scenario, I don't know if anyone else in the world has superpowers. It's just me. So I would do the smoke powers, because then I could go through a fucking vent and come out the top part of the ceiling of the roof. And that's
You'll get lung cancer.
There's a thought experiment. Maybe we all have superpowers, but they're only the mimic superpower.
we're just mimicking the mimic superpower from everyone else around us.
Exactly.
There's a dark twist.
You're getting static again, Alex.
Okay. Tony,
Hi.
what's your power?
Power to read Alex's mind because it would be really interesting.
But you see, it's got to come from a video game character.
Yeah, that's Sora from Kingdom Hearts.
Wow.
Just read my mind.
I feel like I'm going crazy.
All right, stop it.
Is the static still happening?
No, you're good now.
Okay. It's good to know that because that means I don't have to stop recording to fix that. So it's
What about Max from Life is Strange?
yeah, like seeing
Yeah,
what she
well,
went
there.
through, like seeing what she went through. I don't. No thanks.
But without the life-ending calamity.
The way you see, here's the thing: she went through that because she had those powers. Then that basically it's when you have those powers, yet you don't have but you're not predispositioned to use them well.
Mhm.
That is basically how you're going to end up.
Yeah, I feel like
So
that was very much a self-fulfilling prophecy. That's kind of the point of that game. But that I would love to have those powers as long as they didn't come with the baggage.
Your static's popping back in again.
Oh,
Alex.
great!
Yeah, Alex, you're killing it.
the
Way
thing
to
about those
fail.
powers. You see, what I'm saying is just coming off of what I've pretty much heard Alex say about the game. But am I correct in saying, isn't that baggage based off of how she used those powers? Mostly, not the powers themselves?
It kind of showed up before the powers even happened, so it's a weird thing.
It's complicated.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, isn't that more like her and not so much the power?
It's a little bit of both, let's say. How about that?
That only can... Okay, that just means I'm right.
Whatever, I'm right, guys. Fuck
Then-
off.
So, okay, same power from Prince of Persia.
Yes. As long as it comes with the time dagger.
without the baggage of killing friends and whatnot.
As long as it comes with a time dagger. Can I stab the dagger into people and suck the time out of them?
Of course.
Cool. GG. Sounds good. Ship it.
You can also stick the dagger
You know-
in dead people and suck the time out of that.
Fuck yeah. That game's pretty good.
For all that time travel you want to do by cemeteries.
Yeah. That's
Just
it.
vet morticians and steal all of their money.
That's it for emails. Mail sack.
Quick side note, like I texted this to Alex like a few days ago, but like,
Here we go.
there's not like a day that goes by where I don't think about Life is Strange. It is so weird.
Mm.
It's
I'm with
been a
you, dude.
year. It's been a year, and I think about it almost on a daily basis.
Yeah, me too.
That game's special
That
for
game's
me.
fantastic.
Yeah,
It's like all right.
Whatever, Tony, you've never played it still.
I still own it.
I mean,
That counts.
so far, Undertale's doing the same thing over here.
hey,
Yeah, no, like
so does Valent.
there are a lot of games from last year that I think about The Witcher at least on a weekly basis. Like, yeah, there's a lot of good stuff.
Nope, not with you on that one.
Okay, well, that's the end of the show for the
Yep.
most part. We still have a little bit left. Don't worry. We got a Netflix and chill. We'll get there. But first, if you'd like to be a part of the show, just like Silver PR, Jake, and Harold were, you can send us an email. Email address is mailsack@irrationalpassions.com. I don't know what I was about to say. It was not irrationalpassions.com. Or you can leave us a voicemail. Just call the number 404-590-1337. Standard long distance fees do apply. Tony, do you want to call anybody out, or is the dream dead?
Well, it's kind of been killed.
I know. I'm just like saying.
All right, I've got one.
Okay.
Bear with me; it's gonna get a little weird.
Already weird. So.
So this week I'm calling out Alex O'Neill.
Okay.
So call show. You know what you need to do.
I like where this one.
All right.
I look forward to your voicemail next week.
Okay.
All right.
Noted. Let me put a reminder in my phone. I'll get as drunk as humanly possible at some point and do that, I guess.
Okay. Be like, hey, this is Fluffy.
Hey, this is you can follow each of us on Twitter. I'm at AlFighter27. Scott is at WhatTechuz. Nabishin is at NABESHIN186. That's Nabishin186. Tony's at Tony Horvath. All one word. And Trevor, you are at Snarky Starkey.
That is correct.
There's only one E in there.
Yes, Snarky, despite how Barrett Courtney likes to spell it, does not have an E in it. Only my last name does.
Yeah. You can follow the site on Twitter at IrrationalPod. Some other stuff, please rate and review us on iTunes and Stitcher. Helps us out a lot. Go to vguvo.com to check out the awesome podcast network there that we are a part of, as well as our sister podcast, Malicious Underground Pod X. And Twitch stuff, I'm bringing back. I'm talking about doing some Dark Souls 3 stuff with some people. So that might not happen until like a week after release because of PAX, but we'll see what's happening with that. I'm going to try and stream that whole game like I've been doing with all the Dark Souls games. We'll see. And youtube.com.
Bloodborne.
I didn't do it with Bloodborne, but does it say Dark Souls in the title of Bloodborne? I didn't think so. Bye, Felicia. Go to our YouTube page, youtube.com/irrationalpassions. This next 2 weeks is going to be Justin and I playing Folklore until Tony and I record some more episodes of Omega Quintet. And we'll do alternating for that because Justin and I recorded so much Folklore. I think it was 31 episodes of that, so maybe a little bit more. So
There you go.
they're gonna keep going. Tony and I are gonna record a whole bunch more Omega Quintet sometime soon. So
Yeah, you tell me.
and everything else, tell your friends. Word of mouth is the best way to spread the love. So if you like the show, maybe tell your friends about it. We would really appreciate it. Trevor, you've been a lovely guest. So where can our wonderful listeners find more of you on the internet?
Snarky Starkey on Twitter. And then my website is trevortrove.com, which inspired by one Alex O'Neill. I've been writing daily for that site since November.
Woo!
Maybe someday I'll actually join the 21st century and do video or audio content instead of clinging to the dying dream of the written word.
Living.
Instead of living.
Yes.
Let it die.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm
So
right
yeah.
there with you. So. And
Yep.
plus, you and I can feel super way better than everyone at Kind of Funny Live too, because we'll have been writing for like forever. Basically.
That's true.
If we combine our powers, we'll have both been writing forever by then.
Indeed, yes.
So, no. Trevor Trove is awesome. Hosted by Squarespace.
Yes. Build it.
Did.
Beautiful.
You should. I don't know. Build
They
it.
got
You
rid-
should. Beautiful.
They got rid of their.
Wait, they don't pay me to say that. Screw that.
Yeah. And for everything else, Irrational Passions, and a link to Trevor's site, irrationalpassions.com. It's all going to be in the description. We've come to the end of the show. Tony,
Hey,
how would you like to Netflix and chill with us?
I'm cool with that.
All right. Do you have music for this?
I think we did a while ago. I don't remember.
I'll figure something out.
Okay.
Let's talk about...
Just bring Wrecking Ball back
it
in.
was yeah.
it was the Temmie music.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll
Put
get
that
something.
shit on.
I'll get something going. Let's talk about stuff we've been watching, viewing, consuming.
I was like, I am far too ratchet to play Temmie music.
Yeah, a little too ratchet, just a little. Actually, I have the Undertale soundtrack on my phone, so I can actually just pull it up and loop it. Go ahead, you guys can start. Trevor, what have you been watching?
Well, the big one that anybody's going to want to talk about is Daredevil, but I've also been watching a lot of Frasier because I never actually watched that when it came out.
Really?
Almost, yeah. I've just been binging through the 11 seasons of that show. I'm almost done with it now. But yeah, also Daredevil, which was... I enjoyed it. I appreciated that they kind of broke the season up into little mini arcs. If you didn't want to binge the whole thing, you have like it interests me because in the same way that like Mad Max was really a movie about Furiosa, season 2 of Daredevil is really about the Punisher.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody's like, no, Punisher needs his own show. I'm like, he's already got his own show. we just watched that.
Daredevil season 2.
Yeah. So I liked that you've got like kind of his story arc is broken up like kind of in 3 or 4 episode chunks. If you don't want to watch the whole thing in one go, you can kind of get self-contained stories over a weekend. Great performances in it. I kind of felt myself not paying as much attention later on, especially as more of the hand stuff came back into it.
It got very comic booky at the end, where like it felt like they got from season 1 to like halfway through season 2, like they felt like they had like the perfect balance between comic book and like I guess real world shit, and like this kind of just went full comic book near the end.
And yeah,
I was
now
way
it's just
into it.
full magic.
I was like a big fan. I don't know, because like I really like the Mystic stuff personally. So
I mean, I'm not saying it's bad. I was just saying this like it just seemed off a little bit, I guess you could say.
It like I mean
as off as a
it's
blind
less
man fighting
grounded.
crime, like,
it's less grounded than like the rest of the tone they've been setting with I think
I think
with the Marvel shows.
like I agree.
But at the
and
same time,
disagree.
I mean, we live in a where the Inhumans and Agents of Shield also exist in this universe, so
yeah, like
makes sense.
Where I like disagree is just like, well, Daredevil is still like a dude with radioactive acid in his eyes that fights crime and the world's on fire, and Jessica Jones has superpowers. So like, I mean, for me, like it was totally easy for me to be like, okay, the blind man's fighting immortal ninjas. I'm into it. Like, let's do it. Like,
And he runs really fast.
he runs really fast.
I saw an infographic that was basically like Hell's Kitchen real problems, like rent and gentrification. Hell's Kitchen Daredevil problems, ninjas.
Ninjas. So cool, man. I loved it. Like I just thought it was a fun ride.
It was good, yeah.
Yeah, like I thought Elektra was great. The actress, like I'd never seen her before. She was awesome. The arc, kind of like where they went with that, was great. Let's just say Batman versus Superman could have learned a thing or two from Daredevil season 2 with how you establish a character. And
I mean, to be fair, Batman v Superman doesn't have 13 hours to do it.
yeah.
But yeah, you can still get more. You got more character development out of like the Punisher's first speech than anybody in Batman v Superman. So
Yeah, like John Bernthal is so good as the Punisher. Like he was
that whole just the whole part of like them both on the roof and them talking that was probably the best episode of the entire season.
Yeah,
It's
like-
just the conflicts of morals. Like yeah, exactly. That's what Batman versus Superman should have been. the conflicts of like ideology. You know, like I kill for this reason. Like no, I don't kill for that very reason. That type of thing. So you know. Yeah.
And I like, in that it's something that Matt doesn't talk about, like Matt Murdock, the character doesn't talk about a lot to other people, right? Because he very rarely gets the opportunity to kind of preach to someone, but like he is a very religious superhero, right? Like he has very stringent beliefs, and like that was like kind of a moment where he opened up to Punisher about like I believe in good in people, like and the only person that has the right to decide who lives and dies is God, and like I can't do that. So like seeing that play into his character was really cool, and I think like the fact that he is a religious superhero is a unique and interesting part about Daredevil that they leaned into a lot more in the first season and didn't in this season, but like that scene really brought it out of him, and I love that.
Yeah, but also to be fair too, like halfway through there, like at the beginning it was like Matt, like Daredevil was like, I'm not gonna let anybody die. Not if they're in my vicinity, they're not gonna die. Then they got to the point where like, you can just kill them around me, but I'm not gonna kill them myself, type of thing. So
yeah, it was definitely like, and I think that was definitely reflective of Elektra becoming like a part of him again, and a part of his life again. And like again, the Daredevil at the beginning of that show and the Daredevil at the end of that show were different, and like that means you did something right with your character went somewhere.
Yeah.
And I like that. I think that's the point. So, that last fight was real good. I don't want to get too spoilery, but yeah, it takes you on a ride, and it's really fun. And I thought like the acting and the directing was all really great.
Yeah. That said, I feel like all the people that are out there clamoring for like a full blown Punisher season, are the same kind of people that would want a full movie of Avengers Hulk, where he works great in small doses as like in a larger team element, but as we know from like Hulk and the Incredible Hulk, standalone movies are not his forte. So I feel like a standalone Punisher show, like he needs to be a supporting character to be as impactful and as effective as he is. Also, a standalone Punisher show, like I watched Daredevil like with eyes averted away from the screen for like half the fight scenes because I'm not a huge like gore or blood and guts kind of guy.
Man,
and so I was doing this for like most of those moments.
There's like a moment where he just shoots a dude's face off. Like,
yeah.
And they show it. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucked. Like I agree. Like I don't know what they would fill a full Punisher show with. Like I didn't know what they would fill a full Daredevil or Jessica Jones show with. So like.
It's funny because I'm kind of the same way, except for I have a very delayed reaction.
Like, oh, what just happened?
So no, what you'll see is let's say we go ahead and we watch the show together, and then we start playing games, and I start making faces.
Yeah, you're
like, what are you making these faces for?
Remember when the Punisher blew that guy's face off? Like, yeah, that was like 45 minutes ago. Like, yeah, it was fucked up. Yeah.
It'll be kind of like that, except for I won't realize I'm doing it, so I won't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. It's good. Like,
but I mean, hey, now you know.
Yeah, I loved it beginning to end. I thought it was paced better than the first one, which kind of like tapered off. And like when a certain character shows up again, I was like, oh yeah, all right. And that actor continues to be excellent.
Is it Stick?
Yeah.
No, but Stick does show up, I guess.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
I mean, I haven't watched it yet, but I mean, like, those don't count. The people who say they do.
The way it happened was a surprise, I guess you could say. So, Punisher was great, Elektra was great, Daredevil was great. Still a bigger fan of Jessica Jones personally. Cannot wait to see that.
I still need to
season
watch
2.
that.
I don't know if you would like an audition. So.
And I knew they were gonna try and top their like the much talked about hallway fight scene from season 1.
Ooh, daddy.
It was like like from the gate I was like just kind of watching for that sequence, and then it came and I was like, yep, they definitely took
did
it
that.
another couple steps.
Yeah. I've never seen so much wrist control in a fight scene before. But man, I could not throw a chain around like that. Holy
Yeah.
shit. Yeah, pretty good.
But like even in how it was shot, I'm sitting there trying to figure out like what the cameraman is doing and how they made some of that, like so many of those transitions work. Because in the hallway, like you could physically like figure out, okay, yeah, he's just kind of going up and down this hall. But in this stairwell scene, it's like, okay, like is there actually a rail there, or did they like add that in post because he had to somehow get through that rail to get to where he is now? So yeah, that's the kind of thing. Like I went back and watched it 2 or 3 times just to nerd out on stuff like that.
Yeah, it was super well shot. Anything else anybody's been watching? That consumed most of my week.
It's probably gonna consume a good chunk of mine.
Yeah, the Luke Cage teaser, awesome. I really like the use of music and kind of like it was like there was sunlight. It's very in your face. It was very different.
Yeah,
It's only 20 seconds, but
exactly. I didn't watch it when I first finished it, and then I saw like, oh, if you like watch the end of that last episode, it'll autoplay a Luke Cage thing. So I went back and watched it. And I was like, oh, this was a letdown.
yeah, I mean it's not much, but I'm excited for it.
Like I didn't since he was so heavily featured in Jessica Jones, I didn't need it.
Mhm.
Like I already have a sense of
you
what.
got your intro to him, yeah.
Yeah, I already have a sense of what that character is going to be and what they're going to do with him.
Yeah,
This
I really
didn't
wanted.
this didn't add anything. This was the equivalent of like the first teasers of Jessica Jones, where it was like her walking over bodies in a bar, but we hadn't seen anything of Jessica Jones at that point. So that was like I felt that made more of an impact than the Luke Cage teaser did.
I kind of just want to rewatch Jessica Jones now. It's so good. Tony, did you guys watch anything?
Nope.
Really?
Nope, not at
Better
all.
than
Not a
Flash.
single TV show all week.
I mean, do you watch any internet meme
Nope.
videos?
Nope.
Jeez.
I watched Clash Royale a lot.
Jesus.
So in Clash Royale, there's this function called TV Royale, where you can watch replays of the top ranked people, and I watched that.
Scott?
The Flash.
Oh yeah, I watched that as well.
Yeah.
It's a good comeback. Another speedster showed up. I was
Yep.
into it.
Ian died.
Yes.
Yep.
Ian died.
And died. Oh yeah. I mean spoilers, I guess, but that's fine.
No.
I really like that show, The Flash. It was a good palate cleanser when I got back from Batman v Superman.
Yeah.
And Arrow is good too.
Is it good again?
It's like season 4's been consistently pretty good. They're playing my heartstrings, breaking my heart pretty much every episode at this point.
Yeah, this one was a rough one for you, I'm sure.
Oh my god. But
Felicity.
yeah, it's been consistently pretty great since they ended season 3. So
What about Legends of Tomorrow or whatever?
Legends of Tomorrow is like fine. Like
Yeah.
it's not great. It's not bad. It's very much middle of the road, kind of fun, kind of a little too into itself at sometimes. But it's inoffensive. Like
I feel like they don't know what they want to do with it yet,
yeah.
and there are too many egos on that team to juggle
Mhm.
that like nobody gets enough time
Yeah.
to develop.
It feels like as far as superhero shows, like there's like 4 that no one ever talks about. It's like it's Gotham, is it Legends of
Gotham's
Tomorrow,
Don't watch Gotham.
Agents of Shield. No one talks about that anymore. And Agent Carter, no one talks about that.
Well,
do,
yeah,
oh, go ahead. Sorry, Trevor.
I still watch Agents of Shield and I watch Agent Carter. I like Agent Carter as the period piece, and since they're doing more miniseries stuff, they can tell like a more self-contained story.
Mhm.
Whereas Agents of Shield is and like villain of the week kind of thing. It's always been, and it's uh, like they're definitely taking it in the direction of Secret Warriors, but doing it on the television budget, it hurts it. And then they just like this week's episode spun off a couple of the better characters on the show because they're going to get their own pilot and new show next year, I guess, or at least they're going off to film a pilot. Whether it gets picked up or not, who knows? So it's like that show and is just kind of eating itself a little bit, and
Sure.
and not doing it at like they're not building out their world as well as Arrow to Flash to Legends of Tomorrow did.
Yeah.
Did you ever
like-
try out Supergirl, Alex?
I haven't watched Supergirl, and like Justin, tells me, he's like, well, first it's a CBS show, then it's a Supergirl show. I'm like, all right, that's fair. It's not available to me on any streaming services.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, CBS is a pain like that.
Yeah, so like as someone who doesn't have TV, I can't just watch it. I would love to watch it though. I mean, they did that crossover with Flash. Basically, from what I understand, Supergirl's universe falls into one of the multiple universes of the Flash.
I think that episode's next week.
Yep. And it looks fun. Like I really like that actress that they've got to that, but I don't know.
Sure.
I would like to watch it. Gotham's bad. Gotham is a bad show.
I gave up on Gotham far later than I should have.
Yeah, it took me about 11 episodes when Selena Kyle, Catwoman, said that she would give Bruce Wayne, Kid Batman, a kiss if he did something for her, like help sneak into some factory. I'm like, I'm fucking so done. I'm so out. This needs to end. I need to stop. And it's like getting a third season and everything. I'm like, how? Like Joe Fate loves that show, and I'm like, I don't know.
Wow.
What is wrong with it? And it is progressing my theory. Joe Fate likes bad things.
They did some interesting stuff this season with a fake Joker that ended up then not being the Joker, and so it kills it. Like Nabishin was talking in the Batman v Super stuff. It ruins anything they would ever want to do with the Joker moving forward, because anybody who tried to come into this world and be the Joker is just copying this circus kid who wasn't really the Joker before.
I hate everything about that show, because the reason the supervillains exist in the Batman universe is because Batman exists, and it is so long before Batman exists.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are you doing? Like, this is stupid. Like, if you lean into the crime aspect of it, the Jim Gordon, Harvey Bullock, and like them, Jim being the straight cop, Harvey being the dirty cop, against like crime lords, like the crime lords that basically ruled Gotham before they were supervillains, like before Black Mask was Black Mask, and before Falcone was Falcone, like, like that crime era before they were supervillains. Like, that's when you get like an interesting crime drama story, a la like something like True Detective. But like they just veered right into like, no, we're doing supervillains, even though there are no supervillains yet, because there's no superheroes yet, because what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah.
Right. They kind of have it backwards, because like in a bunch of stories, a lot of supervillains would have been there anyway.
Yeah.
Let's take the Flash for example. They're not there because the Flash is there.
Yeah.
The Flash is essentially the Flash because they are there.
Yeah. Like, they were all kind of created in the same situation.
Right. Right.
Like Static Shock.
Like Static Shock.
Right. And that's how a lot of those work. Batman is different in the essence that every supervillain is essentially one of Batman's mistakes.
Exactly. And that's what makes Batman so good.
Right.
Damn it, Gotham! You've ruined everything. I'm just saying, now, if you're bummed out about Batman v Superman, just go watch Gotham, and you'll feel a little bit better about it.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Which one of those is worse and does more damage to Batman?
It's Gotham.
It's funny because that's not something that people would pick up on.
Yeah.
Even through a lot of reading some of the old comics, it's not something that someone would just like pick up on.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what the more hardcore crowd can understand, as opposed to like the common people that just know the villains by their names, that's who that show is made for. It's made for the masses. It's not made for the diehards.
Yeah.
It's made for people who can be like, oh, that guy's the Riddler. Oh, that guy's gonna be Scarecrow.
Yeah.
Oh, that guy's gonna be Two-Face.
Yeah. It's like Harvey Dent is already like a little crazy, and I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
Like,
no, well, they all are. Yeah,
That's not how it's supposed to be. This isn't how it's supposed to be. But the Game Grumps Ocarina of Time Let's Play is fantastic, and you should watch it. To close this out, that is the other thing I've been watching consistently. It's great. You should watch it. That's it. Trevor, thanks for Netflix and chilling with us.
thanks for having me.
And yeah, thanks. What? I'm sorry, Nabishin. Did you have anything you wanted to add?
I didn't really watch anything.
That's what I figured.
like I can't really even think. Like honestly, like days has just been going by. I don't even know what I'm doing because I'm not playing video games, and I don't know what I'm doing to occupy my time. Like I guess internet videos, and
That's what my week has been like. So
yeah, it's like the day just goes by, and like I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm just like kind of just laying in my bed, just like looking at the ceiling for like 5 hours. But I
Kind of funny. Animated episode 3 came out.
Yeah, yeah, you know, I still consume Colin Gregg every day they come on, and like other than that, yeah.
yes.
I guess I could say like I'm kind of consumed with like reviews of Batman v Superman. It's like Destiny, except now I'm more involved with it now. So like I'm just fascinated by like people's take by it, and like you know like I love Greg's take on it. Like I was like, oh yeah, like good for you, man. I'm glad you like it. And it's like it's like, and I'm just hearing other people like I don't want to hear like super negative people, but like I want it. But if they make like sense of what they're like really upset about, like yeah, then I get that too. Like Angry Joe's a big fan of Superman, and like I wanted his take on it, and like yeah, he felt pretty much the same about it. He still liked the movie, but like because they did what they did with Superman, like yeah, he's like also like fuck this movie all at the same time. So
Yep.
it's interesting.
That's where I'm at too. I think so. Yeah, no, it was good talking about it. Watch the bonus content if you want to hear us kind of go in depth and spoil some stuff. So,
one shout out I want to say though, check out the Death Battle with Bayonetta and Dante. That was really good.
oh yeah, I saw you tweeting about it. It sounds good.
Super good. It's super good.
Yeah, that's the show. Trevor, thanks for coming on. It's always a pleasure.
Indeed.
I'm glad that we could make you podcast more because you're pretty good at it.
Thanks.
You should watch that Gamecast that Trevor was on from like almost a year ago now.
Oh yeah, I saw that. That was great.
And thank you everyone for listening. We love you all so much. Thank you to Danny Wiesner for opening music of Two Player Co-op and our closing music of The World Is Saved. That guy is also awesome. He has like the most adorable son ever, I think. Like him and Jason A. Stryker have like the two cutest children, and it upsets me. I'm like, my kids aren't gonna be that cute. I already know. Look at me. Come on. My kid's not
No,
gonna be-
that's absolutely. And the hair they're gonna have. Oh
Yeah,
God.
the hair is gonna be all over the place.
Ugh.
So that was just a
At least
thought
my
that
baby's
had-
gonna have adorable hair.
Yeah, you have.
Or they're gonna be
got that. One or the other. It's gonna be a cruel axe swing, one way or the other. Thank you, Tony, for deciding to show up. I guess.
I mean, you know.
Good job not being dead.
Hey.
I'm glad that you're okay. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Nabishin, as always. I've been your host, Alex O'Neill. Play your games, stay rational. We'll talk to you all next week. Tony,
Are you expecting me to do something?
I am expecting you to do something. Trevor, you just want to keep recording.
Okay.
I mean, I can talk about titles if you really need me to.
Please talk about titles.
All right, now I'm not gonna. So the titles, guys.
You got like your morning voice going right now. Yeah,
I mean,
so, hey guys,
hey.
lay back in the morning.
So the first title,
Do you have it up? Do you need help?
They Ruined Superman. Followed by Tree Fitty. Followed by Heart. Heart.
You weren't there for that. It's fine.
That's all right. Followed by Life Simulator.
Can you guess what game we were talking about there, Tony?
Probably like I don't know, like Kingdom Hearts or some bullshit.
Not quite.
That was a pretty
Not quite.
Kingdom Hearts, a life simulator.
Yeah.
Very true to form to life. Wish.
The game tells you what to do, but whatever.
Come on, that's another hint. What game is that?
That was funny, Scott.
And then I said, like, Tony, that's another hint.
Oh,
What game is
Don't
that?
worry, I've known what we were talking about since I first. No, all right, whatever. Sounds like something I should buy a working beta for. I came in like a reeking ball. The password is a butt print. And Q beat.
It's gonna be they ruined Superman. I get that. It has to be. But
But they didn't. Superman's fine.
I really like the password as a butt print.
Yeah, that's how I log in. Why are you so jealous?
Just lay your butt down on that thing. Yeah, they ruined Superman.
But like, for the purposes of this, would you say it as if you were like on the game show password and just be like, the password is butt print.
Oh my God! Yes. Yes. You might have swayed me the other way on that one. They did Superman. Scott? Tony?
Butt print.
I don't care, man. Whatever you want.
They ruined Superman.
They ruined Superman.
Trevor?
I abstain.
That's not how this works.
Well, then I'm fond of. The password is a butt print.
So we're 2-2 now.
Tony, you gotta swing in.
Life Simulator.
All right, they ruined Superman. Got it.
They ruined Superman.
I vote for whatever is against they ruined Superman because I think Superman is fine.
I think you didn't.
Did you see it?
I feel so
No,
welcomed as
but
a
it's
guest
fine.
here, Alex.
This is a hostile environment, as you can see. Nabashan, are you okay with letting they ruin Superman go, or are you really feeling strong about it?
They ruined Superman.
I'll
But they
take that
didn't.
as-
Superman is just fine.
Trevor, do you know the first part? I don't know if you've listened to this show ever before, other than last week.
Recording the title, yeah. Or the title of the episode.
Yeah, I'm writing it down for you anyway. There we go. I'm gonna bold it and everything. I just need you to say that. I'll
Okay.
take it from there.
Just whenever.
Whenever.
You're listening to Irrational Passions Podcast, episode 271.
They ruined Superman.
Because the password is a butt print.
The password is a butt print.
Butt print. You can stop recording now.
Man, I'm so glad I contributed to this show.
All that VR talk again? That's 2 weeks in a row, Tony.
I'm happy that I didn't talk about VR with you guys. I don't have that much of an opinion on it. I haven't even tried it yet.
To our video viewers,